And I'm all about telling you what you want to hear.
Just like all the other men in my life, Jay.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Alright, we are live now, actually.
Alright, shit. Yeah, maybe we won't want to talk about that.
Quick, change the subject.
Yeah. Got Beadlocks first. Sorry, Lubed Helios, you lost out on that one. Beadlocks got it first.
Why do people have such an affinity for saying first on things? That happens on a lot of our YouTube videos too.
Gotta be first, man. Gotta be first.
Gotta be fast.
Second is just first loser, right?
That's true. If you're not winning, you're losing.
Exactly. Yeah. Shout out to Slippery Pete as well. Subscribe for 2 months. Thank you very much, dude. Tier 1 sub. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Oh boy. This is going to be a crazy episode.
Man, it's a packed document.
And not only is it packed, but like all the things are pretty high profile that are running right now.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about,
A lot of
right?
really like big name important stuff. It's undone. Hello to you as well.
Yeah, and Pilot XJ as well.
Hiya.
And Langalandia with the hey.
Hey girl, hey. Except I'm pretty sure that's a guy, actually.
Yeah, yeah. We'll go with it.
But it's just fun to say, hey girl, hey.
Sure.
159, Rope, Captain Schwa, Bledin. What is up, guys? Glad to see all of your bright and shiny faces. You think I can't see your faces right now, but I actually can.
Yeah, in your mind's eye, right?
Yeah, it's part of my power. Yeah.
You've got a certain memory bank. I won't tell you what you actually call it, but we know what it is.
Whoa. We should have. We should find a song that we can play through our pre-show.
A song that we can, with just one song on repeat constantly.
Well, maybe just make it like a 5 or 10 minute song.
We could use Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell. That's like 11 minutes long.
I mean, that's probably copyrighted, I imagine. Dixiemech song? Oh yeah, the one from Mech Madness. That song was pretty fire.
Yeah, that was good. Walker's was good as well. I can't remember what the tune was now, but I remember Walker's. That was quite good.
Walker had one?
Yeah, he did one for the competition last year that you and Huey ran.
Oh yeah, he did the cover of Heathens by 21 Pilots.
That's it. Yes, yeah. 21 Pilots. Yeah. And I could.
Oh.
I was humming it off my head, but I couldn't think where it was.
Yeah, I remember some of the lyrics. Even it was like the hook was all my friends have customs, just relax, wait for them to shill their vintage blacks. Such a good open. That song was so good, man. I think he won our last competition, our 2-year anniversary.
I think so. Yeah. Pilot XJ saying PC Leaf 60. Should I buy one? Worth it. I've not tried one, so I couldn't comment. But I know, Brian, you've got a Leaf 60.
Yeah, I'm actually using my Leaf right now. It's not a polycarbonate one though. I have one of the aluminum E-white with a little E-black accent there. Currently rocking some white on black.
Nice.
With some switches that were made by Sir Chris Swires.
Say again, sorry, what was that about Chris?
Chris Swires made me the switches. And
right,
them for me a while back. And they're pretty nice.
Yeah. Bledin suggesting pump up the jam. Pump up the jam.
Yeah, we need like a really bad song. Like it has to be ironically bad. I feel like.
Yeah, it needs to be terrible. Like really, really terrible.
Yeah.
We'll think of something.
Man,
something to have on in the background.
I am so excited for the 3-year anniversary from Top Clack in the next couple months. I'm so pumped to do another song contest. That's been the first year and the second year. That was like by far my favorite part. It was so much fun,
Do you know what they've?
And they always have really high profile prizes, and like 4 people enter, so your odds are like so good.
Yeah, but what we should do is we should have like our entry as well. Like this is the bar that you have to achieve between me and you. So we should do something and say this is the bar.
Do a duet?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I can't sing for shit, but I can probably come up with some good lyrics.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter too much. Like, it's all about just having fun. Get creative with the lyrics and stuff like that.
Oh, wow. Langalandia recommending Jermaine Stewart's We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off. Wow, what a song. I'm not sure that's fitting, because I kind of like taking my clothes off.
Yeah. I mean, if I didn't have to wear clothes to not break Twitch's terms of service, I would not be wearing clothes right now.
Yeah. I'm not wearing clothes. It's just a figment of your imagination, so...
Wow. That's pretty impressive, actually.
Mm.
All right. As usual, guys, we're live just a little bit early. Pre-show time. Just kind of preparing, making sure everything is working as it should, while we also wait for the bot to ping the Discord. And that way more people can kind of flow in. Then we'll get things started as usual. Uwu to you as well, Llama Fama. In fact, no you.
Brian's clothes are just tattoos that he gets replaced every week. Full body tattoos.
That sounds painful.
Do you have any tattoos, Brian?
I actually don't have any tattoos, but I kind of want to get one or two. Yeah, I'm not opposed to getting them. It's just I've never really found anything that I particularly want.
Sure.
And plus it also costs money, and I'm kind of a cheapskate.
Yeah, they're not cheap. They are not cheap.
We should maybe I should get a top Clack tattoo. Would that be awful? That'd be an awful idea, right?
I have plenty of tattoos, but I'm not getting a top Clack one. I'm sorry. I don't get...
Oh, I'm not asking you to get one. I don't want you to get one. I'm talking about for me. J Shuff subs with Twitch Prime for 8 months. Thank you very much, sir.
Nice.
Can you show the
Talisman
mug?
and...
Asks Slippery Pete.
The mug. Well, yeah, we'll take a drink in a second.
They want to see your mug.
Yeah, it's quite a mug.
It's something. I think you should hold it from the bottom. That way people can see it, the handle, you know.
Oh, right, okay. There you go. There's the mug, guys.
That's right.
There you go, Slippery Pete. That was good. Talisman and 159 oying each other. There we go. That sounds quite romantic.
Oying? Wow. I didn't realize oying was like a verb. That's pretty fantastic.
Well, it is now.
That's true. Well, all words are made up. All words are made up.
Yeah, exactly.
People forget this. Bot pinged? Okay, cool. We'll start in a minute or so then.
Yeah. Blood Insane Satanicist has gone to bed. Man, I've just been chatting with him and now he's gone to bed. Disappointing.
Maybe
saying...
Maybe he went to bed because he was talking to you. Maybe he was so bored talking to you, Jay, that he had to...
Or maybe he's gone to bed because he was excited about me and he just wants to have a think about me while he's in bed.
That's true. Going to bed and going to sleep are not necessarily the same thing.
You go to bed for more reasons than sleep, yeah. So yeah, we'll see. Langalandia saying, I feel like since it's a big part of your life, you can easily justify a tattoo. I mean, I've got like 17 tattoos, and I don't think I want a Top Clack one. Not because I don't love Top Clack, but because, well, I'm not sure I want the logo on my body, to be quite honest. But if you get me drunk enough at Seattle and pay me enough, I might.
Oh my god, is that going to be a drunk expedition on Seattle?
Maybe. I could get like a little TC somewhere.
Oh, we'll wait for our new logo first, and then we'll get that done.
Yeah. I mean, there would have to be some serious money and drunkenness involved.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a difficult one to get through, but yeah.
Neo Jonathan, subs at tier 1 for 6 months. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank you, dude. Thank you.
And Cows in art class got his first mechanical keyboard. Oh my gosh!
Wow. Nice.
Welcome to the gang.
Pilot X-Ray says, any Keeb tattoos already, Jay? No, I've got 0 keyboard tattoos. I've got a foot-tall owl on my left calf, takes up my full calf. That's because my the home city I'm from, the symbol which I've moved out of now, I don't live there anymore, but my home city is Leeds, and their symbol is an owl, so I have that. And then I've got 13 stars, one for every member of my family that's passed away, sadly. So that's kind of like a half sleeve at the minute. And then I've got a phoenix on my wrist and a few other bits and pieces dotted around as well. So yeah,
I'm not cool enough to have tattoos yet, but Briamins did just sub with Twitch Prime, so that person is definitely cool enough. Says, good night, Top Clack boys. Have a great show. Good night to you as well. He also does a little rock on emote. I'll give you one back. There you go. Rock on.
There we go. Polyzoo also subscribed for 7 months on a 2-month streak. Thank you very much. He says, cheers. Thank you, dude. Bledin as well.
And Fizkey both subbed.
Wow.
Thank you very much, guys.
Fizkey saying go Raptors. Go Raptors. I assume that's an American sports team that I'm not quite sure about. But
yeah, could be a potential sporting event going on at this this current time. All right, guys. That's probably a good enough time. I'm gonna roll an intro, and we're gonna get this party started. Ladies, gentlemen, and anyone else, welcome to this week's episode of Top Clack. I am your host, Quakums, joined by my co-host, Jay, as always, the lovely British face you see beside me. And as usual, we're going to talk about a lot of things keyboard-related today. We have a very, very healthy news doc with a lot of pretty interesting and high-profile things going on. So strap yourselves in, grab a drink, grab your pet, push your girlfriend out of the way. And just spend some time with us learning about some keyboard things. How about that?
That sounds good. Just a shout out to Mountain Blocks as well. He's saying that you're cool enough to wear a dope t-shirt, Brian, because you've got your Modern Dolch shirt. Just want to call out Mountain Blocks that mine is, I know you posted it out last week, mine is stuck in UK Customs. It's been there for nearly a week now. I'm really frustrated because everything that I was hoping to put in my mail call, which we'll get to in a minute, is either stuck in Customs or hasn't quite been shipped yet, which is really frustrating. So
yeah, I got to wear it on my build stream last week, and I'm wearing it today. So shout outs to Mountain Blocks. Man. This shirt is honestly like one of the most comfortable shirts I've ever worn too.
Yeah, everyone's been saying it's really soft, it's really comfortable, it's really nice. So I'm really looking forward to getting mine because I'll bring it to the Seattle meetup as well.
Heck yeah. Pilot XJ is gifting a tier 1 sub to a Mayor 5125. Thank you so much for that.
Nice, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Pilot. That's 8 as well now. Wow, thank you, dude.
Nice. And 159 is subbing at tier 3, 7 months. Wow, thank you, man. You are
tier 3, man.
Tier 3. Yeah, we don't get many of those. That is.
I think we've got unique. 2. Yeah, we've got 2. I think when I was looking at the stats the other day, I think we've got 2.
Thanks, man.
Wow, that's cool. Thank you, dude.
All right. So as usual, we'll start out with a bit of a mail call. So why don't you start us off, Jay?
Yeah, I've got nothing. Nada, zilch. Everything is stuck in customs. There's a problem with UK customs at the minute, and the problem is that they're basically shipping to every other person in the United Kingdom except me. So I have about 4 key sets, 2 keyboards, and 2 t-shirts, as well as a couple of sticker packs. They're all set in customs. They're not arriving. So next week might be a bumper week. We don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, I've got nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Is this our first mail call in history together where you don't have anything?
Second, I think. Second.
Okay. Well, yeah. I do have a couple things. Of course, my Dolch shirt that I was kind of showing off just a moment ago. Got that in the mail not too long ago. And I also got in my GMK Deep Space, which it's still wrapped. I haven't even opened it yet because I have no idea what I'm going to be putting this on. Literally no idea what I'm going to be putting this on. So we'll wait and see. Hopefully I can come up with something good. But
I've got it behind me on the JO1 there. There it is. That's Deep Space on that one.
Yeah. I was at my friend's house the other day, and she had the set already open and stuff, so I got to see it. And
oh, nice.
I think the colors came out pretty well. The contrast is actually better than it is on the DSA set.
Yeah, so a lot of people were saying to me when I took some pictures of it that, oh, you can't see the modifiers and blah blah blah. It's really poor in terms of visibility for the mods. And I'm actually, in the pictures don't do this justice. In real life, it's really clear. It's dead easy to see. And I think when I did the stream with the proper camera and everything, people were able to see that a little bit better. But it's a really really clear set. It's much easier to read. The contrast is much better than on the DSA set. So I was really pleasantly surprised by it. And the alphas, I wish I could just buy like 10 sets of the alphas because they're amazing. I'd run them with all sorts of different mods because they're just really good.
Yeah. All right. Well, quick and easy mail call for us today. Only 2 things between the 2 of us. So now let's move on to a couple announcements before we roll into our news doc. The first thing first, we applied for a Twitch partnership a while back. Some people in Discord might have known that. We did post pictures about it and stuff. We were very excited. They did get back to us, and they did not accept our partnership at this time. So, maybe a little unfortunate, but like I said last time, we applied knowing it could go either way. But basically, we just need to build up the community a little bit more. Apply again. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's not gonna stop us or anything. So we'll keep being us, and we'll keep going forward and doing cool stuff.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I mean, and they've given us some tips on how we can improve our chances of it and stuff like that. So we're going to be working with them to try and really understand how we can get there as well. So it's not a negative. It's just something that we're going to push down the road a little bit in the end. There's Talisman Solutions with 1,111 bits. Thank you very much for those, dude. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, man. Yeah, so we still believe that's going to happen. We just need to grow a little bit more. We've been slowly but steadily growing over the last 6 months pretty noticeably, which is nice. So we just need to keep that trend going, and maybe in another 3 months or so we'll apply again. It is what absolutely. It is. It's not going to slow us down with anything. So that is that. Next up, the Discord Nitro Boost is a thing now. So if you're not sure what that is, and you're a part of our Discord, basically what Nitro is it's a paid Discord service. I think the more expensive option is like $10 a month. And it gives you, access to like a bunch of different custom emotes, as well as a bunch of other things, games, etc., etc. But what they have been implementing as of late is the Nitro boost per server, which is really interesting. So basically, if you have Nitro, you can choose to boost one server. I think it's just one server. Someone can correct me on that if I'm wrong. And when you boost a server, it goes towards a specific goal. And at each goal point, each checkpoint, you unlock more features for the server. So we've actually already made it to level 1. I think there's 3 levels. We've already made it to level 1. And that actually unlocked a bunch of features for us, including better voice chats, audio quality, which you might know I actually turned it up today because we just recently got this. So Jay actually should sound a little bit better than usual just because we usually go through Discord to do the show. So the more people that have Nitro that actually boost the server, the better audio quality we'll wind up getting, and it'll actually impact the quality of life of Top Clack. So if you want a reason to either get Nitro and boost our Top Clack official Discord server, which is linked below the stream, or you already have Nitro and you haven't boosted a server, maybe consider us, because we'll actually get a benefit out of it. I promise. We use Discord for the show.
Yeah. So better audio, and this isn't just for the show. It's also for when you guys are in chat, when we're playing games with you guys, or just chatting or whatever else we're doing. It's better for that as well. So if you want to hear my voice, even more sexy and sultry as the British accent is, then do consider boosting our server. As I say, I think we were at 3 boosts earlier on. So guys, please do try and support us if you can.
Yeah, we're currently at 3. If we get 10 total, we get up to level 2, which will double our audio quality. Double it numerically, not necessarily double it actually. But you guys get the idea. And then we get more custom emotes. We can get a server banner. The upload limits for people that are uploading things like pictures and videos to share on the various channels. That limit will be much, much higher if we hit the next point, which is really, really cool. So people can share much higher quality pictures and videos. It won't quite be as, compressed as Discord sometimes does.
Yeah, absolutely. We also get a really cool server banner as well, which is quite nice. It's like a little image that sits above the top. So if you get us there, guys, we might run a series of different images of your guys' boards or something like that. If you want to submit pictures, we'll find something.
That'd be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. We could do like board of the week or something like that and put that up there as well. So there's all sorts of options we can do. But yeah,
I like that.
if you get level 2, guys, we'll do something cool next week for you guys hitting level 2.
Yep, absolutely. Mountain Blocks donates 500 bits. Thank you so much, man.
Oh, thank you, man. I just wanted to chat as well that both Talisman and Mountain Blocks have shared their cheer rewards with different people. So Talisman shared his 1,111 bits with 25 different other people in chat, and Mountain Blocks did it with 10 others. So thank you very much for that, guys. That's really, really nice way of sharing things with the community. So thank you for that. Really appreciate it.
Heck yeah. Lou Pelios is saying, I remember the days when they would partner streams that were unique, even if you weren't close to the requirements. Yeah, I think I think that might be how Tiny T has done it. Because no offense to her, we love Tiny. She does really good stuff. She has great content, but she doesn't get nearly the viewership that we do on a consistent level. But she also applied for partner much earlier, and I think at the time it might have been a little bit easier back then. And maybe they're just a little harder on it now. Yeah, because we meet the requirements, but I feel like the requirements are kind of like a very minimum, even though they say average. So yeah, I think they want to see people consistently getting above those averages. I feel like, which is totally fine, totally fair. And if we continue at the rate we're going, it shouldn't be that long until we get to a respectable point where we can apply again and hopefully get some benefits for not only us but you guys as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Apocalypse, you're mentioning emotes as well. As part of our big redesign, you will be getting emotes in Twitch. That's definitely something we're working on. We're already looking at different things like overlays, and Brian and I have got a massive list of all the different overlays we want for different types of build streams and the show and news viewers and the top trumps, the mech trumps that we did the other week that was quite fun. There's all sorts of different things we want to bring in. Emotes is definitely on that list. So it's not just a redesign of our logo, it's a redesign of our pretty much the whole persona of Top Clack and the visual image that you'll get from that. So it's definitely that.
It's on the list. It's on the long list of things we need to accomplish.
Yep. We'll get there. We promise we'll get there.
Yeah. And finally, of course, as always, our 24-hour stream is still coming up. We are still hoping to get to it this month. We just are waiting on some media assets, and once we get those, we can finish our structure, we can finalize things, and we can actually get this thing going, because we want to do it as much as everyone else wants us to do it.
Absolutely, yeah. We're both crying out for it. I'm desperately excited to order some more business cards for Brian and I and things like that. So yeah, we're just waiting for that to come through, and then we'll make it a reality, and you guys will see it first. We'll get it up there for you.
Yep, definitely. All right. With that, we can move on to the news. So I'm going to swap over here, and Jay is going to tell us about our first news topic.
Let me get this link into chat. So you might have seen Bledin in chat already. He is one half of the design team behind this board. So Bledin and Satanicist, also known as Parallelogram, are two members of the UK community, and they've come up with the Raine, previously known as the Raine M3. This is a board that's been around a little while. It's kind of like a mix of a 40% and an 1800 layout, and then squish it all together into what's a non-standard 65% form factor. Now, I actually built the prototype of this on stream. I did have some technical difficulties with my camera at the time, but we actually did get a build of this on stream, did a bit of a typing test a couple of weeks ago, and it's finally gone into group buy. So the exclusive here is that it's literally just gone into group buy. This has literally just been launched. There's only 25 slots. And we're going to tell you about it now. So, do you want to run us through some of the specs, Brian?
Yeah, I'm trying to look for like an album or some picks I can show. Okay, wait, here's a couple. Okay. Oh, I think this is your pick even. Nice.
Yeah, that's my picture. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So let me scroll through these while I talk about it a little bit. So there is going to be a 25 unit limit on this group buy, so pretty exclusive, guys. The colors are going to be red, blue, black, silver, green, and then 3 premium colors, which I don't know if have been shared yet. Is that going to be based on something? Maybe Bledin and Jack can answer that for us. There's also going to be a PCB that supports QMK and does have USB-C center mount, which is cool. I like seeing that. The plate is going to be 1.5 millimeter aluminum that color matches your case. So that's pretty interesting there. And the plate files will be open source after the group buy concludes. So we definitely love seeing that. Gives people a lot more options if they want to try other materials. There's going to be a WinKey and WinKeyless option. The angle of the keyboard is 7 degrees, and the weight is a pretty respectable 1.7 kilograms, which is about 3.75 pounds, and that's unbuilt. So once built, you should well pass that 4-pound range, which for a board this size is pretty darn hefty.
Pretty impressive, yeah.
Yeah.
So just if you want to just look in Discord and open up the image, I've just pasted the 3 RAL codes. That'll be the 3 special colors as well. Brian, that's
okay
in Discord for you now. So if you want to pull that up. So I just want to talk about the board. So it is really hefty for the size of it. It's unbelievably heavy. When I built it on stream the other week, I was really impressed with that. The switch spacing as well is 19 millimeters, which I know Brian touched on a second ago, which is 0.5 millimeters less than what pretty much every other board out there is. I know it's sometimes known as European spacing, so UK living up to the meme name there. But it is slightly condensed on the spacing. But this is one board that's got the space bar right, because a lot of the time you see this 19 millimeter spacing, and they don't take into consideration that the space bar is a collective of 19.05 times 6.25 or 7 U or whatever size spacebar there are. And I know the E6 V2 got this wrong in the fact that the keys are closer together on the spacebar row, because they hadn't considered how 19 millimeters would affect that particular row compared to the rest of them. So I just want to call out that this is the first board I've seen do it successfully around the spacebar, irrespective of the WinKeyless blockers. It's actually got it right there, which is really nice to see as well. But yeah, I was really impressed with the board. I was sad to have to send the prototype back. I was hoping that I'd get to keep it, or at least have the opportunity to buy it, but I'm going to have to consider joining the group buy for this, I think.
Yeah, and speaking of the group buy, it is going to be done raffle style. So those 25 units will be a raffle, which is kind of interesting. Pretty simple. Obviously, you fill out the form, and you pray to RNGesus. And then, if you're lucky, you get sent an invoice, and then you pay for it. Speaking of the price, the base price is going to be $260, and that is excluding both shipping and PayPal fees. So, you're going to be looking at a little bit higher of a price, probably over $300, depending on where you are. I don't have the link open because I'm stupid, but I think shipping, maybe it's in this post. Oh yeah, it is.
It depends on where you are. Yeah.
Yeah. So shipping is $18 to the UK, 30 for Europe, US and Canada is 40, which is all pretty darn reasonable actually. And the rest of the world is 80, which is a little bit of a rip, but I mean, if you're buying boards internationally, that number is probably not terribly surprising to you.
Yeah, I think it's something that Bledin and Satanicus are trying to work on as well. If they can get that rest of the world pricing down, they will do, and they'll refund the difference if it's something that people buy prior to the price being changed. If they amend it later, if they find some cheaper shipping, they'll reduce that as well.
Yeah, and also due to the number of units being limited to 25, the group buy is going to be open for only about six days or so. It's going to close on the 12th of this month, which is only 6 days away at 9 p.m. British Standard Time. So, yeah, you don't have a whole lot of time to get in on this, guys, if this is something you're interested in. So make sure to get in on it soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, looks good.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
You have one of these, right? How do you feel about it?
I had to send it back, but I really enjoyed using it. So I usually really struggle with small form factor layout boards. I've been using the TMO50 a lot. Everyone knows that's my travel board. So I think that's helped me transition to smaller boards recently. You can see my version there with Plum on it. But just having the numpad, it worked out quite well as like almost like a temporary workboard when I was working from home. It was just a really nice layout. And I like the fact that the numpad doesn't have the enter and the plus keys on the right hand side. It's just the 3 columns, sorry. I really liked that fact that it just kept it at 65% format, because it's basically the same size as pretty much any other 65%. I think I had it next to the Onzi, the KBD67 on the stream, and it's pretty much the same size as those. It's just a non-standard layout, and I really enjoyed it.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, get on this, guys, if this is something you're interested in. Very limited, 25 units, only 6 days left.
Yeah.
Not too shabby. All right.
Cool. Should we jump on to our second link of the day?
Yeah, so this is the group buy for the Rama Works U80A Sequence 1. And this just went live just a few days ago, and this is the long-awaited U80 TKL from Rama. He's been teasing it for, God, it's got to be at least a year now. I feel like it was supposed to run on Type Machina, which was kind of a sub branch of Originative, run by the same guy, that was supposed to do just a bunch of really high-end keyboard stuff and keep them in stock, or run group buys through the site itself. But Rama has since branched away from that, and he wants to do it himself, which is pretty cool because he has a pretty good track record so far of doing all the products himself. So you can't hate on that. But anyways, this is the TKL. It's been long waited here. I'm gonna let this video run with I can't control the volume. That's interesting. I'm not gonna let this video run. Sorry, guys. But I thought I'd have a volume slider there, but apparently I don't.
Okay.
Anyways, it's yeah. Go ahead, Jay. Take it away.
I was just going to say a couple of things to call out about this board. I think it's gone through a number of design revisions as well. I know when we originally saw it teased about a year ago, it was a little bit different to how it is now. It was then top mount and multiple. Sorry, it was then integrated plate. Sorry, and it's now top mount. So there's a couple of different things that have changed over time on the board. But I think the really, really interesting part of this board is all about what Rama's naming the mute mount, which is effectively what he's got. He's got the PCB, he's got a layer of rubber on top of that, silicone, and then on top of that he's got the plate. So he's got a full silicone cover between all of the switch keys on the plate, which is kind of an interesting thing to do. I know people have done it with foams and things like that before, and I tried it briefly on the JR1 and didn't like it with the isolation mount that I did on there, and I know it was considered for the Kepler and things like that. And so it's interesting that Rama's gone this route and is trying to have pretty much a silent TKL. So it's quite interesting that he does that. What do you think to the mute? What do you think?
I mean, I think there's always kind of people striving for as much silence as possible in the community. Whether you're at home and you don't want to wake up your parents or your wife or whatever, or you're at the office and you don't want to trouble other employees that are working nearby with some loud clicks and clacks. I think we've seen this movement in Topra, a lot of silencing methods for Topra now, and we've had multiple silent switches on the market for MX. People went nuts for MX silent hybrids, only about a year ago, and now Helios are out. A lot of people liking the Helios and Xylence. They're good switches, but silence is not really for me. I like the sound, but I think Rama kind of feels the exact opposite. If you see any of his previous typing tests, he really does go the extra mile to do like lubed silent switches for like everything. He wants a quiet, non-intrusive build there, and that's just a preference thing. I don't think it's necessarily right or wrong to have a quiet build.
Oh, for sure.
But I do think that the mute mount or whatever I think is it mute mount, is that what he's calling it? I think that'll definitely dampen a lot of the noise, and I'm sure he intends people to use this with silent switches to begin with. So I think he's really just trying to go for the quietest board that you can possibly have, which is interesting in its own way.
It is, and I've just pasted the link into the actual mute mount if you want to buy an extra piece of this or to use it for something else. And what I hadn't realised before, and it's quite subtle about this, but he's got all of the mute mount in between all of the switches, apart from around the modifiers on the right hand side of the keyboard. So all around the backspace, the enter, the shift keys, and all the way down to the bottom row. That's kind of like an open area, which is interesting. I'm surprised that doesn't go between the switches there. It's quite interesting how on the right hand side that's open, especially considering that's where some of the loudest keys are, especially on a fixed ANSI build. I mean, you've got the enter and the shift key, which are two of the largest keys after the spacebar, which don't have any dampening between them, which is an interesting design choice. I'm wondering if you want silenced alphas and a slightly louder enter experience. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I wonder if it has something to do with the stabilized keys, because obviously in the areas with the largest cutouts, that's where your 4 stabilized keys would be. Maybe the material would have just been too thin there to really make a difference, or to safely manufacture and cut.
Maybe. Maybe it might be a manufacturing point. You might be right there, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not entirely sure, but this is really interesting. So earlier you actually said it was top mount, but that's not entirely correct. So the way it works is it's more like a pressure mounting system. Once the plate and the mute mount come together, it's basically just sandwiched and pressure mounted between the rest of the case, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, now we say that, but one of the other things as well is that some of those screws do go through the mounting system, which makes it even more interesting. They don't go through the plate as such; they just kind of rest on the sides of the plates, as you say. So it is pressure, rather than it being true top mount. But the screws do clamp down on the rubber itself, the silicone centerpiece itself. So it's quite an interesting mount. I don't think I want to buy one because I don't like particularly silenced keyboards, but I really do want to try one of these out. I want to see what it sounds like. I want to see how effective it is. I want to see, Rama's quality doesn't need to be questioned. We all know his quality is amazing. It's never got any issues, and he's great with swapping parts out that do have issues. But I do want to try one of these out just to see what it's like. So I'm hoping that perhaps a meetup soon, or if we have a chat with Rama, we might be able to get one of these just to do a bit of a review on and try out. One of the other things I wanted to call out as well is that it almost does isolate the plate in very similar way to the Kepler and the J01 and a few other boards as well, because when you look at how the silicone protrudes through the top plate, so when you've got pressure on it, there's actually kind of a lip, you can see it in that image there, it kind of comes over the top of the plate in certain areas between the F row keys, above the F row keys, and I assume a couple of other area points as well. So it is really interesting, and I'm really excited to see it. I'm not sure it's for me personally, but I definitely want to try one out and see what it's like.
Yeah, hopefully, maybe we can get even a temporary sample or something just so we can test it. I'm really curious to see what this is like, not only with silent switches, but without silent switches. How much does that mute mount actually affect normal unsilent switches? Because it could be pretty interesting. It could clean up the noise quite a bit. In terms of specs, we do have an 8-degree angle, and the kit will come with all the hardware and tools that you'll need for the build. Rama likes to do that. He likes to include Allen keys and other tools that you might need to do the build. That way you don't have to scour for other parts, which
Rama
I do like.
Allen keys,
not Allen keys. Sorry, hex, torque, whatever. He was using hex. He was using hex before the most recent launches of things.
Yeah, before the M60A, he did used to use hex a lot now, but it's all torques now, I think, going forward. Now he gets his own
M60A Sequence 2. M60A Sequence 1 does use hex.
Oh, right, okay. I thought it was the first one. Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Okay. So there's also going to be 2 options for your PCB. You're going to have a solderable option, and you're going to have a hot swap option. So cool, you'll get both options there. The price is actually the same, regardless of whether you choose the hot swap or not, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it is interesting. I think that's a good thing, though. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's nice to have both options at the same price point. I think that's really good. Yeah. One thing I do want to call out is, as always, Rama's renders of these boards are absolutely stunning. All the way through, no matter which colour you look at, they just look great. The moon looks fantastic. The port especially looks really, really good, that deep red wine colour. But I've got to be honest, I think my favourite is that milk hot swap set. The milk one. I think it's semi-box. Yeah. The milk one with the light grey keys. Why is that set not a real set? Why is that GMK set not real? Because I want that key set. That looks absolutely stunning on that whiteboard. Yeah. That key set is just really good. Really good.
Yeah. These are all pretty darn incredible. The port, I think, might be my kind of favorite here. But anyways, getting back to the specs. You do have, it's all good. I get caught up in some of these renders too. You do get a per key RGB. The PCB is, of course, designed by popular designer Wilba, and it is going to support QMK and VIA, which is cool. Love seeing VIA. The brass plate is mirror polished, and it does come with the external weight, but similar to the M60, it does have a 2-weight system. So you can have the outside weight, which it comes with, and if you'd like to add an internal weight, you can buy one separately to even up the EP rating of your keyboard just a little bit more, if that's something that's more your thing. But it also does come with a braided USB-C cable, and the weight is going to be 3.6 kilograms, and I think that's without the internal weight. So that's pretty hefty for a keyboard.
It is ridiculously hefty. The other thing to call out as well is that the dampener does come in different colours depending on what kit you buy. You either get the yellow yoke one if you buy the Kuro coloured, which is a black one, the moon grey, or the milk white, you get the yellow dampener. If you buy the lake or the port, you get the moon dampener, which is a grey dampener. So there is two different dampeners. It does depend on which board you buy as to which one you get.
Yeah, definitely. And the colors here. Nothing terribly out of the ordinary for Rama stuff. Obviously, still keeping the Kuro, the Moon, the Lake, and Milk, which is actually E-coding, electrophoresis. And that one's actually a little bit more expensive also, mind you. So the normal ones are 420, the Milk is 480 for either of the sets. And Port is their newest addition to this, which, man,
that's a lovely color.
That looks so good, man. It really does look incredible. If I were going to get one of these, that's the one I'm getting for sure.
Yeah, I think I would as well. I think I'd definitely go for that. Just before we carry on, Brian, Gio's pointing out that the sponsor GIF has decided to crash on us once again. Really? So if you want to fix that, yeah, sadly it has, yeah. So anyway, guys, that is the Rama U80A Sequence 1. If you are interested, do feel free to check that link out. Go have a look at it. We're really interested by it, even if it's not a board that's necessarily for us. It's something we definitely want to try and just see how effective this design principle that Rama's introduced is. Moving on to something a little bit different. Now Brian's got that the GIF working again. Here is the link to our third news topic of the night, which is the Keycult No.1 Revision 1. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this one, Brian?
Yeah, so if you liked the look of the No.1, the original one, this is Revision 1, so I guess Revision 0 would be the original No.1 TKL, was very popular, and it looks incredible, and people really love typing on it. It's just a straight-up good board. I've typed on one, it's good. But, a lot of people kind of wanted to bring that back, but he wants to update the internals a little bit to his more modern system of the No.160, the No.165, that whole part. So that's pretty interesting. I'm not entirely sure how the No.160 and No.165 mount. So I'm not sure what's different between that and the previous revision of the No.1. Maybe you know, Jay.
Yeah, so on the original version of the No.1, it was effectively a gasket mount. So it was a pressure fit plate and mounted solution using a single strip of nitrile rubber on one side of the plate. This, from what I understand, actually has it on both sides of the plate now. So you actually have the isolation above and below the plate instead of just on one side, as well as some design tweaks to the rest of the board in terms of cable run and the way the wake fitment works and all of that kind of stuff as well. So it's very much a heavily refined version. And someone correct me if I'm wrong as well, Nebulant, if you're watching, you can tell me because I know you've got one of the original ones. But I think that the Keycult logo on the back of the board is new. It's kind of like an etched logo into the back of the board. I think that's new. I don't think that was there on the Revision 0 or the original No.1 when I remember building a couple of these boards. What I will say is I was really excited to try and get in on the raffle for these. I didn't, sadly, so I'm going to have to wait for the Vickery auction and see what's happening there. That was the Keycon raffle. I was hoping that someone would be able to help me out with that, but that didn't happen. I think there's still the raffle sale to happen as well, which is where the majority of the kits are going to be sold. And then, as I said, there's going to be a Vickery auction after that main raffle sale later on too. So it's an interesting board. I mean, it's a stunning bit of kit, and if no one's seen one of these, go watch one of the build streams. I don't know if you've ever built one, Brian, but I know I built one of the 65s on stream, and I've got to say, this is the board that redefined what a $500 custom should be to me. It kind of reset my benchmark of what a $500 custom should feel like and be like, and how it's machined and how it fits together, because it was just absolutely obscenely good.
Yeah, I have not got to build one of these yet, unfortunately, so... someone send me one to build, please.
Yeah.
But in terms of specs, this is nothing too out of the ordinary. We have the 8-degree angle. You can get it in WinKey only, I think, if I'm reading this right. Let me try to make sure I'm not sounding stupid here.
No, you're correct. Yep, it's
Okay.
win key only.
There we go.
Yep.
There we go. With win key only, so no win keyless option here, which is really really interesting. You'd think it's kind of become a standard on these nice high end expensive TKLs to do win keyless almost exclusively, and almost a lot of people don't even offer win key in TKLs anymore for these nicer boards. So kind of interesting, but maybe there's a reasoning there.
Yeah, I suspect that there's going to be more rounds of this revision 2. If you're starting to name round things such as revision 1, it tends to suggest that there's going to be more revisions. So I wonder if we'll see that as part of revision 2 or further on. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think I'd be definitely interested to see a win keyless version. I can't remember if the original round had win key and win keyless. I'm not sure if you can remember, Brian, or not.
I cannot, sadly. So this is going to be $515 if you're lucky enough to win the main raffle that's going to be going on sometime in the near future. But that'll include an all aluminum kit. So that'll include aluminum plate, and this thing at the bottom here is going to be like an aluminum accent, from what I can tell. So interesting that there's no standard brass options, but you can upgrade to brass options. If that's more your thing, there's some extras for that. PCB is designed by Wilba, of course, so it's going to also support QMK and VIA, which we love. And the color combos are pretty limited. You're going to either get a dark blue with silver, or you're going to get a black with gold. So these two options that you see here in the pictures, this is it. There's no other options. So keep that in mind, guys. It does come with all your mounting hardware and tools, of course, and like Jay has kind of touched on a little bit earlier, there are 3 ways to win this. Well, now there's 2. So originally on June 1st, which was about 5 days ago, they did a live in real life raffle / giveaway of one at KeyCon, which was out in New York, a really big meetup there that went over really quite well. There was one given away there. I think, didn't Olivia win that? Someone told me Olivia won that.
Olivia won the giveaway board, yes, from what I understand. And then there's a few people that won the actual raffle. So there's a couple of people from the UK and around my area that went over that weren't interested in the board personally, but I asked if they would enter for me, and they did nicely, because why wouldn't you enter something like this? Sadly, they didn't win, but I do know that Mr. Petrov was also a winner of the raffle as well. He was one of these as well. So yeah, I'd be excited. I don't know how many were actually in the raffle, to be honest, but there were quite a few, and it was a raffle to buy, not to win. There was only one that was given away.
Correct.
So yeah, so it's I don't know how many there were, but from what I understand, there's more units of this than in the previous runs combined. So hopefully they'll be a little bit easier to get hold of if you are interested.
Yeah, definitely. So that was the first way to win one, which obviously no one can anymore. The second way to win this is just by the main raffle sale, which is going to be this month. Exact date is still to be decided, so we don't know what day exactly it's going to be on, but it's going to be this month. It'll be soon. So that's something to keep in mind. That's where the majority of the kits are going to be sold. And the final way to win is the Victory auction, just like Jay had mentioned, which is also supposedly going to be this month following the main raffle. So he's going to do a small number of kits that way. And if you guys aren't familiar with that system, we saw that very recently with the Vern TKL from Zombumon. And basically the way that works is there's a specific amount of units to be sold. Like, let's say there's 8 units that are going to be sold here. You have a bunch of people enter. The people silently bid, basically, privately silently bid. And let's say there's 8 units. The 9th highest price is the price that everyone that wins pays, if I'm not mistaken there.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So you've got 9 people. They all vote for their price. The top 8 highest bidders are the guys that are going to get to buy. And the 9th person, whilst they don't get to buy the board, they effectively set the price for the 8 people above them. And that's the price at which the boards will sell. So I think what's really interesting to me about this one as well, and I know we talked at length about the Vickery option that Zombumon used and the positives and negatives of that to some extent. And I am kind of writing an article, and there's a reason why I haven't published it yet, and that's because I want to wait and see how this particular one goes as well. But what's really interesting here is that this is the opposite way around to how Zombumon did it. So Zambu did it with the Vickery auction first, and then he's running the group buy afterwards. And one of my main concerns with that is that what the Vickery auction is effectively doing is it's telling people what people are willing to pay for the board, and it might set aftermarket prices. So even though the group buy is going to run afterwards, and it will run at a significantly lower price, a couple of $100 lower, it kind of might encourage people to buy to flip because they know that people are willing to pay more money in advance. What the beauty of doing it this way around is, and I've actually been talking to Wright a little bit about this, is that he's doing the raffle sale first. So he's taking the group buy price first, and he's doing those units up front. And then after that's completed, he's then doing the Victory auction to try and generate some more profit for himself, to achieve a better profit margin and all of that kind of stuff for his time and development and effort that's gone into it, and all of his team as well. But because the units have already sold, people aren't going to try and buy them for the flip because they don't know what the flip price is until after the Victory auctions run, or the potential flip prices until after the Victory auctions run. So it's a much more subtle way of doing it. I think if you're going to do it this way, this is the right way around to do it. I still think there's some pros and cons to it as well. But interestingly, Riot has potentially agreed to come and have a chat with both Brian and I about this at some point. So we might get him on the show at some point to have a chat about it and his thoughts, and have a bit of a discussion. One of us might be able to play devil's advocate and come up with all of the negative sides, while the other ones come up with some positives and try and do a bit of a round discussion, which would be quite nice as well. So watch out for that in the near future. And then once that's done and I've collated the rest of my thoughts, I'll be publishing an article in the near future as well, probably early July now, given this is going to run to the end of June. So yeah.
Cool. So that is that. Make sure your eyes are open and your ears are open if you want to get on this main raffle, since we don't have an exact date, but it's supposed to be this month. So
soon is what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
I don't know a date.
I imagine so, because they still want to do the Victory auction in June, and obviously you're going to have to do that before the end of June, so you're going to have the main raffle, a fair amount of time before that. So I imagine it's going to be very, very, very soon. So get your wallets ready for that one.
Yeah. Talisman saying Jay has UK socialist tendencies. No, man, not at all. I completely, vehemently disagree with that. I just think there's a lot of subtlety and stuff like this, but it's a conversation for another time when we get right on the show and stuff like that. So we'll cover it then.
Yep. So next up, we have an interest check for the ASK 55, a Alps 14.5U keyboard.
I've pasted the wrong link. Give me 1 second, guys. You've missed. Shoeborn, you've jumped one further ahead.
Oh, have I?
Yeah. We've got the Fat Boy first. That was
okay. You're right. Let me bring that over. Sorry, guys.
So I got the right link. Just to point this out, Brian.
Yeah, I guess I missed that when I was opening stuff. I guess I missed it. My apologies, guys. Monka asks, you're damn right.
It's cool.
All right, so tell us about the MC76K quote-unquote Fat Boy, which is a great name for a keyboard.
Okay, first of all, you're right. It is a fantastic name. Second of all, there is an awful lot to talk about this. So this is a new interest check from Mustcode, who, to be honest, I've never spoken to before. I don't know the guy, but I am really interested in a couple of things that he's done here. Firstly, this board has kind of got like a retro feel, some fancy aesthetics, as he says himself, and he calls it the Fat Boy because it looks kind of fat, and I completely agree with him, it does. But what is really cool about this board is he's designed it to be customizable in a way that no other keyboard is, and it kind of starts with the bottom. I'm going to see if you pick up on something here. So the first point he says on the bottom, no screws. Fine, absolutely no screws. The reason why he didn't want to put anything on the bottom at all is so that you'll never have a reason to flip it over. Okay, never ever have a reason to flip it over. He wants it to be sat on your desk the right way up, and that's it. Now, interesting what he does say, he says, as a bonus, you also get a completely flat bottom that lets you easily attach custom dampening material instead of standard bump-ons. But I guess you're going to have to flip it over to put that on anyway. So just a pedantic point about his wording there. You're going to have to flip it over to assemble it. But either way, the idea is that it's completely flat bottom, no weight design, it's just completely stock unit. And that kind of leads us on to how the keyboard is mounted in a way. So the internals of this board are really, really unique. The first thing you'll see is on the sides of the keyboard, that's where the mounting holes are to hold the two pieces together. So like the M65A, I think it was, had the screws on the side. The Rama board that Jan Lang had run a while back, it had the bolts on the side of the board. This is kind of the same thing: 4 bolts on the left, 4 bolts on the right to hold the board together, and that holds both pieces together. Rather than being on the base going vertically, they're on the sides and they go horizontally. nice and simple, nothing too unusual there. Start to look inside the board, and it's a little bit different. One of the things you'll see that there's a number of different nubbins on the inside of the board itself. Just on where the tray effectively would be, there's lots of different parts on there. There's also a really interesting back panel with a number of gaps in it as well. And then, as well as that, there is also some little bits and pieces which we'll talk about in terms of the mounting system in just a second, kind of like brackets and holders and placeholders. So just jumping down to that, I think, Brian, if you could jump down to the shots where it shows the board open. There's one where it shows the back open just above where it shows the plate.
Got it.
What I want to call here, yeah. So here's where you can see that everything fits internally within it. And you can actually see the edge of the mounting system here. So you can see what looks like a series of locks and Lego integrated bricks that are on the left and the right of the board in line with the F keys. And what that is effectively an adjustable mounting system so that you can use any different material you like that you can get into the right shape to kind of support the board. We'll talk about that more in a second, but one of the other things I want to point out as well is that this whole backspace appears to be empty, and I'm not quite sure what the plan is for that, and I don't really understand what that glass bar in there is for either.
The glass bar is actually supposed to just simulate a PCB, so this has a USB-C on each end.
Okay, right, okay,
Yeah.
USB-C on each end. I'm still not quite sure why there's all that open space there. It doesn't actually cover that. But I do want to talk about the mounting system. So it's got a great number of renders for this. If you just want to jump down to the second CAD render of the internals, Brian, the grey pictures. I know your stream's a little bit delayed.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. This one?
No, keep going down. Keep going down. I want to show that there's some really good ones of the internals showing the base.
The one on the not the main thread, but the second comment or whatever.
No, on the main thread, it's kind of like just a render.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, I see the stream so delayed.
Yeah,
it's one where you can see the base, the internal, the tray mount system effectively.
Okay, yeah, this one. Right.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so just talking about this on the internals, what you've effectively got here is you've got a series of adapters that you can position anywhere you like on the inside to give you as rigid or as flexible mounting system as you want. So what you have is these brackets that kind of sit there, and these almost collected, it almost builds together like Lego. So you put these poles in depending on where you want them. You'd have to redesign the PCB based on the current design if you wanted to put any of these central. They are designed to go top and bottom of the plate, or they're not designed to go side to side, but they are designed to go top and bottom. Just jumping down to the next one, you can see a little bit of a close-up of these, and you can see how they've got a pole on each end of the adapter. So you screw it down into the base, and then on the end of each pole there is an adapter that kind of points up and allows you to then apply something as dampening material. So at this point, you could apply whatever you like. You could apply some foam that could fit around those poles. You could apply springs. From what I understand, this will fit some standardized spring systems on there. Once you've done that, what you then do is you can fit these kind of female connectors over the top of that, which then give you kind of like a base on which to rest your PCB, the plate system. So the plate will then connect onto these, and then you put another connector over the top to kind of clip it into place and hold it into place. But effectively what you're doing then is you've got like a system that raises and lowers itself depending on what material you've put in there to whatever specification you like to give you whatever type of typing feel you want. So you could put something really firm like some nitrile rubber in there to give yourself quite a firm but a softer bottom out than a standard feel. You could put something bouncy like springs in there. You could put some foams in there. You can put all sorts of different materials in there, and it will give you a very, very different typing feel depending on what you pick. So there's lots of interesting stuff in this mounting system. What do you think to it, Brian? I'm conscious I've talked for about 5 minutes there about this.
No,
it's very interesting.
That's fine. I probably couldn't have articulated quite as smoothly as you did there. But I think this is... It's ridiculous, right? I mean, it seems really overly designed, overly engineered, but it seems really cool. And so in this next picture here that I'm showing now, actually, I really like... This guy words it a little bit, but he's talking about how like you can really tailor to get the exact feel that you want. And like you had mentioned, which I thought was really cool, is he actually has springs under here. So
Yeah.
he has like a PCB, a plate. He's got some. This is presumably like silencing material. Then he has mounted on this spring mount kind of system. Then he's got like O rings over here too. Like you can do like whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's so like ridiculously fine tuned that it makes me really want to try something like this, even though it does seem remarkably obsessive and excessive.
There's a couple of things that jump out at me. The first thing is a real positive is this guy's got some serious CAD skills, right? This guy knows CAD inside out. He's got design down to a T. The second part is, whilst he can design, I'm not sure he understands manufacturing costs, because this is going to be incredibly expensive to manufacture. This is not going to be cheap to make. This is going to be extreme in the cost just because of the sheer number of parts, and it's not going to be a quick build. It's not going to be something that a lot of people are going to be comfortable building. It's going to require a lot of put it together, take it apart, test something, try something new, put it back together again. There's going to be a lot of customizability. Now, for some of us, that's great. For tinkerers like Brian and I and a lot of you guys, that's fantastic, because we could just tinker to our heart's content. We could play around with how many different mounting points we wanted, and what different types of spring weights we wanted, and whether we wanted to put some rubber in there or whatever else you wanted to do. But for the average user, I think this is probably a little bit too in-depth. It's never going to make the mainstream. And because of that, it's going to reduce the number of boards that this guy can sell, if any do actually get made, which is going to increase the cost in turn. And I don't think this is going to be particularly cheap, even if you did it at something like 50 or 75 units. I think this is still going to be quite an expensive board to create. So for that, I'm a little bit sad, but I absolutely hope that this guy gets one made, because I would love to give this a try and just see what it is like and what the hype's about.
Yeah, I'm like this kind of like male to female adapter that you can put springs and O-rings on and stuff. This whole mounting system,
It's obscene.
It blows my mind, but I want to try it. I really do want to try it. But yeah, like you said, this is not going to be cheap. Like, even if you were to hit, those numbers 50, 75, maybe even 100, like, you're probably still looking at $1,000 keyboard.
Yeah, I would be surprised if you could keep it to $1,000 at that kind of numbers. I'm genuinely, honestly,
yeah, I was trying to be a little generous, but yeah.
The only thing that I don't get as yet, and as I say, I'm not quite sure of why it's there, but this whole kind of big space at the back, I'm not sure why that's there. There's a lot of other options you could do and neater ways of doing that. The kind of the back end of it, I get that he's kind of calling it the fat boy, and maybe he's just put it on there for that kind of perspective, but I've seen some interesting renders of what that could be used for, such as things as storing baked beans and storing melon and things like that. There's been some interesting renders of this running around Discord over the past couple of days. But yeah, I want to try it, man. I think that this is the first truly unique mounting system we've ever seen. I mean, we've seen gaskets in the OTD boards back in 2008, 2009, and before. Top mounts being the standard for a long time. Burger mount was kind of an innovation of that, but it was still top mount to all intents and purposes. Tray mounts being done to death. PCB mounts becoming a thing, but this is something completely different.
This is pretty wild, and also much, much more expensive than all the other mounting solutions combined. Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
it's wild. To me, this is less of like a, hey, here's this keyboard I want to run, and more like a proof of concept that like something like this could happen in the future. If we can kind of finalize it a bit, polish it up, and kind of just see where this goes.
Yeah, I mean, the guy does say right at the very end of his interest check, he says, if anyone's got any machining experience or anything like that, to hit him up, because he needs the experience. He doesn't have it themselves. But even if the fat boy doesn't make it into production due to his own incompetence or any other reasons, he at the very least hopes that this IC can inject some new ideas into the community and advance keyboard design, even if only by a little bit. And even if it does make it into production, he wants to make the files open source as well. So fair play to the guy. He's got the right ideas in his head. I think it's completely fantastic what he's come up with here. Whether it actually would work in reality or not, I have no idea. You'd have to build it to try. So let's hope he gets something put together, because it's insane.
Yeah. This is just I don't even know what to say about this, man. There's no words No words.
Yeah,
But it looks really cool, and that's where we're gonna end on this because it looks really interesting. But we can't talk about this forever because we do still have a lot of things left on our news doc. So we're gonna move right over back to the ASK55 that I improperly tried to start last topic, which is a 14.5U Alps keyboard. So let me bring up the pictures here. He actually does have a physical sample in hand, which is pretty cool. Basically, this is going to be a custom Alps solution for people that are really into specific Alps layouts, Apple layouts to be more specific. So this will include the M0116, M0118, M0330, Mac Portable, the 2C, 2C Plus, the Next AAE, and the Next ABP, which are all pretty particular Alps layouts, as you can see here. They're not exactly standard. But if you want to try to put those keycaps and switches and stuff to work, this could be an option for you. It kind of has that Apple-like aesthetic with that big curve. Although there is a flat version. I'm not sure if he actually has a picture of it anywhere. But there is a version with a flat top as well. Oh, it might be able to render.
He's only got the prototype of the curved version. Again, I'd just like to shout out, this is another UK project. I've met Pizza as a lie in person. He's a really nice guy. So excited to see this. I'm actually tempted to reach out to him and see if we can get this proto on the show for a build stream, because I'm really interested in this. I like all these vintage kind of modernized boards, these kind of resto mod kind of layouts. I think that's quite interesting. So I'd definitely like to have a look at that. Just in terms of the boards that it supports, have you ever tried any of those boards, Brian? The 8 classic boards?
I have not. I'm not as versed in the vintage stuff as I feel like I want to be.
Sure.
But I'd love to try it. Absolutely. Yeah. So just in terms of a couple specs, this is going to use a QMK PCB. The plate is going to be brushed brass and or brushed stainless steel, depending on what they want to go with there. Judging by these renders, it does appear to be some form of sandwich mount. There's kind of this universal bottom that it has. The plate kind of sits in that, and then there's your top goes on top of that, obviously. And there are 2 tops, like I mentioned before. There's one with that kind of swooshed look, and then there's a flatter one. So obviously, here's maybe some renders, at least, of the flatter versions. And then there, obviously, right here, you find some renders of the more swooped version, which is, depending on which model of board in there and the caps that you're going to be using, you probably want to choose your top based on that. So if you have the more traditional, like Apple style keycaps that are, they're kind of short, but they scale upward in like steps pretty well, you maybe want to go with the swooped version. If you have the flatter profile ones, you want to go with the flatter top profile. So pretty cool. It seems like a pretty awesome project, honestly.
It's really interesting. I do like this whole bring the vintage feel back in a modernized way. I like to call it the resto mod kind of stuff. It's really interesting. I know we've seen it with a few other projects as well. There's been a couple of Alps board that kind of do the old Apple emulation quite recently. We've seen a lot of the key sets, the extended 2048 key set that kind of replicates Apple in the EBBT format, which is quite nice. And people know I've got the Hyper 7 as well. And, I like all of that kind of old vintage stuff, but brought into the modern world. I'm kind of a big fan of that. So I'm excited to try this out. I'm going to reach out to Pizza and have a look. Interestingly enough, this is a guy who has run group buys before. It's Paradigm is the name of his company. He also ran the key bags, which I think I showed one of on stream a while back. So the guy's got form. He knows how to run a group buy. He's might be his first board, but he knows how to run the store and things like that. So he's got experience. I'm tempted to reach out to him and see if we can get hold of one of these prototypes, because he does say that they are available. He's trying to raise funds for his final prototypes in both aluminium and polycarbonate. So whilst there is no PCBs for these, it might be something we can get on the show to have a quick look at before he does sell them, or something similar. Or perhaps he might even be able to bring one to Seattle. Who knows? Yeah, who knows?
That'd be cool. Shout out to Talisman Solutions, who gifts a tier 1 sub to LSD, who nice. Unironically is the designer of this case, apparently, according to them in chat. So shout outs to you.
Well, if you're there, Pi Parker, then hey man, good to see you, dude. I'll be reaching out to you. I'll PM you tomorrow about this board. I feel like I might have had a PM about it already because my Discord's going nuts. But yeah, if you're there, dude, I'll reach out to you about the polycarbonate version.
Nice. And also shout outs to ComData55 and Baby Feet for their Twitch Prime subs. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
You guys are awesome. All right, so that is pretty cool. I like seeing interest checks with protos already. That's pretty awesome. Hopefully they get the PCB, which is already in the works. Hopefully they get one of those soon. They can test this out as a fully built kit, and then they can move on to group buy phase, and we'll check it out more then. Hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, moving on then to something a little bit different. So this is a slightly different form factor, but this is designed by the legendary Woke Chill, who, for those of you who remember, used to run a certain podcast with Dixie. So he's a well-known figure within. Yeah, Keycap, that's the one. He's a well-known figure within the community. Got a great voice for radio. I've never seen his face, but he has got a fantastic radio voice. I'm very jealous of his dulcet tones. But this is something a little bit different. It's called the Neuron. It's a 40% top mount keyboard with a solid brass base. So this looks like a unit of a board for a 40%. From when I've been looking at it, some of the renders show that this has got, a really, really nice chunky look and feel to it. The kind of base takes up pretty much the whole of the bottom of the board and has a tabbed kind of insert design with that Neuron logo on there.
Yeah, so this is pretty interesting. So obviously 40%, guys, as you can see, 2.5 degree angle, which seems oddly low. That's much lower than we normally see. We don't usually see anything below 4 or 5 unless it's a completely flat board. So he's really pushing that close to flat angle, which some people may or may not appreciate. It is going to be available in aluminum or polycarbonate for the main shell. I'm trying to show it in these pictures here. So basically, the entire case is just one big shell. And then this brass bottom that you can kind of see here is just the brass bottom / weight itself, and those are the only two pieces of the case. And then you have the plate, which Jay mentioned is top mount. So pretty interesting stuff there. The plate options are going to be sandblasted brass, anodized aluminum, polycarbonate, and depending on if people want it, acrylic, which is pretty cool. We don't see acrylic used in plates often enough, in my opinion. The weight itself is sandblasted brass. The PCB will support QMK, and the actual layout of this keyboard will support both split spacebar in terms of 225 and 275U, and it'll also support a 6.25U version of the spacebar for heathens like myself.
Yeah, I think I'd be the same. I think I'd have to build this with the 6.25U spacebar option. What do you think to the layout itself, Brian? Do you think this is something you could use?
I mean, the stagger looks correct.
It is, yeah, it's correct. Stagger,
so
yeah.
I feel like I could use this. It looks comfortable enough for someone like me to use who doesn't often use sub 60% boards. I can adapt to most things. It'll just take me a little bit, obviously, like a lot of other people. But to me, I would call this a usable 40% layout for me, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something you'd need layers for punctuation, things like that. But I think it's totally usable. I think it's absolutely usable. I think it looks really good. One of the interesting points about this, the interest check as well, is around his stance on LEDs. So no in switch or RGB, something compatibility. Get a razor if you want that. And he starts the sentence off with no in LEDs. So I'm guessing that Woke Chill is not a fan of LEDs. Which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Like that's fine. That's his prerogative. And I do think that RGB underglow might have been cool on the polycarbonate version, though.
Maybe. You see,
but it's not a requirement, obviously.
Yeah, I'm still not a fan of it on polycarb cases. I still I've got underglow wired into my polycarbonate Singer, and I don't use it because I dislike it. And I've got the same on the TMO50 because I've got the polycarb base for that. And again, I don't use it because I don't like it, so I kind of agree with him here. Okay. But yeah, I think my stance is that I just don't like LEDs or RGBs of any sort, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just find it amusing the way he's put it in here. It's a very, very firm stance that he's come up with. So that's interesting. Just in terms of the weight as well, so the aluminium case with the brass plate version should weigh around 2.5 pounds, which for this size board is pretty much of a unit. It's quite respectable, and the estimated cost is $200 to $300. So he's got a prototype that's being made currently, and once that's arrived, he'll be testing it and tweaking it, and then he'll have a PCB made as well, and it'll go through some design iteration. No current estimated group buy start time at present, but he'll update it as there's more information available.
Yeah. So what do we think about this price? Now that we've kind of run down the specs and we've seen what it looks like and what it, what layouts it is and such, do we think the price is pretty on point here?
Yeah, I mean, if you can get, I don't think $300 would be unreasonable for this board. If you look at it, it's quite a unit. There's a lot gone into it. There's a fair bit to it. It's hefty, it's dense, it's fully customized. I think that's fine. $300. If you can get it for $200, that's pretty an amazing price, to be honest with you. That's a really good price for a board like this.
Yeah, no, I think if he gets it down to that 200 range, that'll be really, really, really attractive. I think at $300, it's not super attractive to me, but at 200, I would consider getting one of these.
Okay. Given his stance on LEDs, do you think we should buy him one of our lovely crevice boards?
Oh, I can't even remember the name of it.
I can't either, but as soon as I say crevice, you know what I mean.
Oh, the Moyen. It was the Moyen.
Oh yes, the Moyen. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
236 crevice LEDs. Fantastic. That is the future, ladies and gentlemen.
I wonder what Wokechill would think to that board.
I'm
sure he'd love it.
I'm sure he loves it. Yeah. But anyway, so that is the interest check for the Neuron top-mounted 40% keyboard with a brass weight. Looks pretty nice. We've been seeing more and more of these what I'm going to call premium sub 60% keyboards. So love seeing more of that. Love seeing that getting a little bit more popular. So maybe we can reach out and maybe check out a prototype even temporarily or something. That'd be pretty fun. Yeah,
it would be fun. I'd be interested to see something a little bit more up close on that one. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's also fun, Jay?
What's also fun?
Cat profile.
Cat profile is amazing. It's my second favorite profile. It's
same.
Amazing. Yeah.
For me, it's a close second even to Cherry profile.
I think that's fair. That's fair.
I love me some cat profile. But anyways, you can find a cat profile on the interest check for the Cat 96. Which is a pretty interesting little, what I'm assuming is kind of a pre-built keyboard that will feature cat profile keycaps, which I thought was pretty interesting. So let's take a look at some of the specs here. It's a fairly basic looking piece of kit. There's an aluminum frame. There is an 8-degree angle. There's going to be a programmable RGB PCB. I'm assuming that's RGB per key, SMD RGB. That's probably what he means here. And that will have USB-C. It'll only come with Cherry MX switches, so I imagine you'll have your choice between Cherry MX switches. And that's also what makes me believe that this is going to be a pre-built as opposed to a kit. Not sure yet if there's going to be a kit version, but golly gee, I hope so I don't have to use Cherry switches. But it's also going to have a Bluetooth 4.0 with a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, which is pretty cool. And what I thought was kind of interesting was we've seen this design before. And so I'm glad someone in the comments of this thread actually pointed out. So if you notice these weird little side panels, I'm trying to show the best pictures of this. So like they kind of like mesh together there at the edges, and then you just kind of screw them into each other there. I'm going to open up the page for the iQnix F60, which looks very, very, very similar.
Yeah.
So if you notice,
I see that.
It uses like the exact same kind of system here. So I don't know if this is like maybe the same guy, same studio, or if he's just inspired by this, or if he's like, that looks cool, let me do the exact same thing. So
if you jump back over to the blue picture as well, one of the interesting things is that whilst the foot is different, on the Mastrop thread, there's a one with a blue sidebar. There's it's also got the same kind of lump underneath. If you ignore the foot, I know the foot's different, but you can see there's that kind of bump underneath, the black bump. That's actually present on the 96 as well. So the Cat 96, that bump being there is quite interesting, and it seems to follow the same design principle. You can see that on a couple of the pictures. So whilst the feet are different, and I think they're just generic screw-in feet on both of them, they're very similar. They're very different designs, but they're very similar to a lot of other products that are out there. You're very, very right that it does look like it's a very close copy or clone, or whether it's made from the same.
Yeah, it's not very close. It's like exact.
It's identical.
It's identical, exactly. Yeah. So that's something to be, kind of interested or maybe even a little perturbed about, depending on who you are. But maybe it's the same guy and he's just trying to go after the same design. I don't actually know who originally designed the F60 by Iconix, so who knows? Maybe we can get some more information on that. But regardless, it looks all right. I know they just wanted to add it because cat profile, man. I'm a big advocate for cat profile.
Yeah. I need to bring your keys back when I come over for the Seattle meet. I'll bring them with me.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Yeah. I think this is, so irrespective of whether the design's copied or not, what is really nice to see is that the set's being sold with a board now, if that makes sense, to actually see the fact that the cat profile is going to be out there on a production board. That's really nice to see because it is such a unique profile, and I think more people should have the opportunity to try it. So I'm psyched for that, even if I don't know all of the details behind the design of the board.
Yeah. Yeah, the board itself honestly feels not a whole lot special to me, but gotta love the cat profile, man.
Yeah, the fact that it's going to be there.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, the final point I was going to say is a lot will depend on the price for this as well, given it's kind of that unique construction. I'm not sure how popular that would be, but it'll be interesting to see what the actual finalized price of something like this is as well. Yep,
definitely. Speaking of cats, how do you feel about scorpions, Jay?
I love me some scorpions. I like to play with scorpions more than my wife, so which that's a really bad take on the first sentence of this intro.
That's fine. Yeah. So this is the Dumang Scorpion DK6, and boy, is this an interesting keyboard. I am going to use Google Translate on this thread just so you guys can see some of the ridiculous Google translations that are going on here. We don't normally share Taobao stuff, just because A, there's a lot of things, and B, we can never understand most of it. But this particular product seems really, really interesting for a few reasons. First, this line in here: "You are desperately trying to touch the keyboard longer than your girlfriend."
Yeah, I mean, well, sure, okay.
Okay, you hooked me. I'm interested. You got me. Look at this. Brand, drug lord. What do you guys know about brand drug lord, guys? Anyways, let's all joking aside, and believe me, there's a lot of jokes in this thread when you use Google Translate as usual. Let's actually talk about the keyboard itself, because it's pretty interesting. I'm going to play this little video, and hopefully you guys can kind of see what's going on here. Also, oh, now it's just not going to load for me. That's glorious. Okay, I guess I'm not going to play this little video because
there's the GIFs further down the interest chain that you could show.
Oh my god, it was working right before the show too. Naturally, yeah. This is a really long thread. But why don't you tell us a little bit about this keyboard? What makes this interesting, Jay?
So there's a couple of things that make this really interesting, intriguing, and wonderful in all variations of the usage of that word. First and foremost, the switch is sitting kind of like a little capsule, so you're putting the switch into a capsule, and then these little capsules, they sit on this kind of I don't want to call it a PCB, but they sit across these circuit bars, I guess, electrocapacitive bars, I think they might be. I'm not 100% certain. But they effectively sit across these metal bars. And on the bottom of these little encapsulated pods, which the switches sit in, you've got 8 metal pogo pins, for want of a better word. Some of those are used for magnetism to hold it to the actual plate, I guess. I don't know what to call it. To the board, to the plate, to the metal bars. I don't know how to describe it, but some of those will be used to hold it onto there, and some of them will be then used for a connection. My assumption is that it determines where the key is based on how many of those different bars it crosses, and then you can configure it. But what's really interesting is you can just lift them up and you can drop them. You can arrange them in different arrangements. You can put them horizontally, you can put them vertically, you can even put them on an angle. And as long as you're going across multiple of these pads, it seems to be that you can use them in any orientation. Interestingly, one of the pictures that Brian's showing is you can actually have these vertical and on a 90 degree angle as well. So you can not just have the switch pressing that way, you can also have it mounted this way, so you press it that way, which is kind of interesting. It's just completely and utterly bizarre. And then you could pick that up and move it elsewhere on the board at any point should you want to. I genuinely don't understand how this works. I had a chat with Yankar, who's quite a well-known PCB designer. He has come up with a couple of ideas on how he thinks it works, but he doesn't actually know. He says he's not quite sure how it works. But you can not just control the switch, you can also have RGB LEDs on them as well. So there are a number of pictures in this interest check where the switches are lit up with LEDs as well. You can also put layers on it. So if you want to use different layers, you can have a layer key set and you can program it just like we do QMK boards as well, which is really, really interesting. And it does have its own software as well to enable you to do that. The board itself isn't big enough to do a full 60% or anything else on there. It's designed that you have two of them, you have them split, or you use one as a macro pad or something like that just to see how they work. But it does run on a 32-bit ARM chip. So if you're putting them both together, you'll need two cables or something like that to speak together and all of that kind of good stuff, the way we do with a lot of other split boards. It's also worth pointing out that there is an Ergodox version as well, where it's actually shaped differently. So instead of just being a square, it's got the kind of Ergodox angle on the bottom as well. And the final thing I want to say is I bought one of these because I want to see how it works. I literally bought it when I was talking to Brian before the show. So we are going to have one on stream at some point, I guess.
Yeah, it's not terribly expensive either. I don't remember the exact configuration you got, but it wasn't too astronomically high.
Yeah,
and like
I got 20 switches and one board, and it was $110, I think, ish, something like that. Yeah.
So thankfully Jay will be receiving one of these in theory, and then he can show us all the magic of of rearranging layouts. I guess I don't know. This idea seems really, really out there, and I'm really bummed that this video at the top isn't playing, because I feel like
there is the GIF further down that shows it if you want to just scroll down to that.
I mean, I would, but the video's playing now. Okay, perfect. No, go back. Shh, Taobao, please work with me here. I can't get the angle right. Darn it. Okay, I'm gonna play this really small. Sorry, guys. But as you can see, he's playing a little game of Overwatch here, and he's swapping some keys around. He's showing you that the keys work, and he puts another key on, and he presses it, and it works. And he's moving them around to just get better ergonomics, and he's just playing his game. Like, Jay, please.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna paste a link to the GIF in chat as well, just so people can have a look at that GIF, because it is really interesting, and I just don't get how it works. I mean, if it works, fine. It's incredibly dynamic.
Yeah,
it's probably one word I'd use for it. I'm at a loss for words, and that doesn't happen often, guys. I'll be honest, but it's basically any board you could ever want, right? It's any layout, any stagger, any obtuse option. If you buy just two of these pads, and you can put the keys wherever you like. So I'm going to get one, and I'll show it off when it arrives. Hopefully, it won't be too long.
I cannot wait for you to get this board in, Jay. I quite literally cannot wait. I need you to get this in now.
When this arrives, I'm gonna take. If this arrives before Seattle, I'm definitely bringing this to Seattle. Yeah. Even if I bring nothing else, this is coming with me to Seattle, because it's gonna be obscene. I just don't have the words for it.
Yeah, like, and one of the reasons we actually added this to the news doc was just to kind of have a little discussion, even with you guys, if you guys wouldn't mind in chat. Like, is this a cool product? Is this level of modularity something that we are just truly missing in the community, that we just need? Because this looks ridiculous to me. Like, this is really cool, right?
You say it's ridiculous, but I'm more excited for this than I am for some of the other boards got coming, and I've got some really nice boards coming, but this is more exciting.
Yeah, no, I when I say ridiculous, I mean it in a good way. Like this
Oh yeah,
this looks like hours of endless fun.
yeah, yeah. I need you guys to come up with some ideas on what I could use it for as well.
Yeah, I would,
and how I could configure it, because I have no idea what to do with it when it arrives.
I'd probably rock it with like a gamepad. Probably just do like one left hand thing for like shooters, since that's mostly what I play.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, could do that. Could do that.
But yeah, but I wonder how intuitive their firmware actually is. Their programmer. Like I wonder how, like
There's a couple of screenshots
good,
of it.
Yeah, like how what level of like macro can you get on here? Are you going to be able to get features like tap dancing and other QMK mainstays?
It looks like you can, because there's one of the screenshots right in the middle that actually shows a macro column. So it's got left control, delay 20 milliseconds, press W, delay 20 milliseconds, then press left control, then delay 16, and do W, and so on. So it's got a really, really complex series of macros in one kind of key press there. So it looks like it's, you know, pretty full depth. I mean, I don't speak Chinese, so I'll struggle to actually get it to work, I suspect. But it looks like it's fully customizable if you can translate the software. I think there's a lot you can do with it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see you struggle with this software.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting build stream, because I don't think the build's going to take that long on this. When I do this, the build's going to be pretty simple, right? Switches into the encapsulation bits, drop them on the board in whatever layout I pick. Once that's done, the trick then is in programming it and getting the damn thing to work, I suspect. So I'm really interested in how that's going to be. So yeah, look out for the build stream of this soon. Did we get any good comments in chat, Brian, about this?
Most people seem to be pretty in favor of it. Yes, definitely really cool. Oh my god, yes, it's just amazing. I can't even comment. The theory is amazing, etc. So yeah, people seem to be really into this idea, and I don't blame them. This is really cool. Like I'm stoked, man. I'm so stoked for this stream.
Yeah.
All right, but we can't talk about this forever, because we do still have a lot of things to talk about today.
We do. We're only about halfway.
As much as I would love to just talk about this for the next 2 hours.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, moving on then. Next link, we are back with Rama. So why don't you tell us about the first of our key sets for tonight, Brian?
Yeah. So this is the group buy for PBT Heavy Industry Sequence 2. So remember, there has been a previous sequence to this, the Sequence 1, and it didn't have quite as much compatibility, and you know, the legends were maybe not quite as bold as they are now. That does seem to be the main difference here. You get a few more keys, you get a little bit bolder legends, a little bit more what Rama has been going after on this, I guess. And yeah, it actually does come with a fairly decent amount of compatibility. It's $92, which is, you know, not too bad. I'm trying to find the compatibility list. So there we go, guys. So yeah, for $92, under $100, it's, you know, it's about what you expect for compatibility. It's, you know, probably on par with an Enjoy PBT set. I'm not sure if these are actually done through Enjoy PBT or not.
Yeah,
I don't think it confirms that anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think he ever has, but it is cherry profile. It is PBT plastic. As you said, there is some improvements from round one, especially around the compatibility. So you've got multiple different options for your bottom row. You can do 60%, 10 keyless, 65% in there as well. You can do HHKB options for your arrows and accent keys as well. So there's quite a lot of compatibility in there for pretty much any recent Rama board is covered now. You know, so he's designed a key set for his boards, which is complete within his prerogative, and it'll fit a lot of other boards as well, which we're quite lucky with. So it is pretty interesting. It's a nice looking set as well. I know a few people have got it on their Brutal 60. I've seen a few people have it on that board, and I think it looks great. It works with a lot of different colours. I don't remember the novelty keys being in the original one, Brian. I don't know if you know if they were there or not.
I don't have the Sequence 1 link up, unfortunately, but I don't believe they were. Yeah. I've seen a few pictures of this as well, and it looks nice. For me personally, the legends are a little too bold, even on the Sequence 1. So having them even bolder on the Sequence 2 is kind of more of a turnoff for me personally. I don't like the really thick, bold legends that take up, you know, a vast portion of the keycap. Like if you look at the F keys in some of these renders on the U80A, like these are really big legends.
Yeah,
I'm not really a big fan of that personally, but other people seem to be. The Sequence 1 seemed to go over fairly well. He did sell a fair amount of them. People posted pics, you know. who am I to say it's wrong or anything? But just not my personal taste.
Yeah, I'd agree on the F keys. I don't like the F keys. I think the legends across the rest of the set look pretty okay, though. I don't mind it on the alphas. I think the key for me is that the mods are much more legible now. That's really good to see. And I do like the accent keys. I think it works quite well with the accent keys. So yeah.
Yeah, I like the colors here.
Very
nice.
I think for the price, it's really good price as well. $92 is pretty good for stuff like this. And just to be clear as well, this is a pre-order, guys, so it is for the group buy. So it won't be shipped until it's completed. It's not something that's in stock like most Rama things. It's a group buy, not a stock product. I don't think he has a date where he's expecting to ship. I couldn't see one when I was looking through it earlier on. I don't know if you spotted one, but I do know that the pre-order is open until July the 10th, so you've got just about a month to be able to enter it now.
Yeah, so this is kind of running alongside his U80A, so just in case you want to maybe pick up this Keycap set to go on your U80A, a little extra convenience there. Yeah. All right, moving on, we have novel keys with the long-awaited GMK Olive group buy. So this is finally live, guys. The designer, Olivia, of famed GMK Olivia, the community's most popular key set, by the way.
For 2018, yeah.
For 2018 at least, yeah. This is the follow up. So this is Olive. She's been teasing this a little bit. I think the first main interest check went up not too long ago, but she was teasing it for months and months and months before that. So.
Yeah, it must be a good 6 months since we saw the original tease, right? I think.
Maybe even longer. She's been working on this one for a while, honestly. But regardless, it's finally here. And yeah, I think it looks pretty darn good.
Yeah, it reminds me of a couple of other sets, actually. It's kind of almost reminiscent of GMK Coniferous, which is not a bad thing. It's a very different green on this one, but kind of like the alpha base color and the mod base color are kind of very reminiscent of that, with more of an olive green rather than the usual N9 green, which I think is what's on that particular set. So it is reminiscent of that kind of set. I think this looks fantastic. It's really nice and muted. It's a lot more gentle than her previous offering in Olivia, which had quite nice, bright, bold colors. This is very much more muted and very, very nice and down to earth. It's a really earthy green. Does that make sense? I'm not sure if that makes sense, but it's a very natural green. It's not something that looks too bright or in your face or anything like that. It's a really, really nice looking green. Novelties in the base kit as well, which for that price is really interesting. So there's a few different novelties in the base kit. There is a couple of different olive leaf examples and olives as well. Olives on cocktail sticks as well, guys. So if you're interested in those novelties, do check them out. But you've got that on a couple of the 1U keys on row 1, and then there's also the row 4 keys as well, where you can put the olive novelties in place. Just looking at compatibility, there's a lot in the base kit, and it's only $125. Bear in mind that you've got a full numpad. We've not lost a numpad in this set. There is 60%, 65%, 10 keyless, 1800 ISO support in there as well. Not UK ISO, but there's ISO support in there for pretty much any layout of your choice. Alternate arrow keys and alternate mod keys for a number of the different parts as well. And you can also do 2 different bottom rows in terms of the Sangan or the standard 6.25 row as well. So lots of different options in there. Oh, it also covers HHKB as well. I missed that. Yeah, it covers HHKB too. So I think that's a great option for a base kit at that price. Novelties in there as well, $125. What do you think, Sat Brian?
I think that's pretty good. $125 is definitely within the comfortable, very reasonable range of GMK sets these days, especially ones that actually do have this amount of compatibility. Like you said, they're not cutting out ISO support. They're not cutting out the numpad. You can cover a lot of layouts with this kit for only $125, which I really like. This is probably being based off a 500 unit MOQ, if I had to guess, because they're probably going to hit that. Let's be real here.
Oh, for sure.
Novel Keys, one of the biggest vendors in the community. Olivia, prolific because of GMK Olivia. People are going to want this set because they're going to, even if just the fact that they're going to be afraid that it's going to sell for like $500 on the aftermarket, you want to pick it up for $125 at group buy price right now. And one thing I do want to shout out here is one thing about GMK Olivia that really irked me the wrong way. And people, if you guys were watching back then, and you saw, myself and Huey, previous Top Clack host, covered on the show, as I was losing my mind over the forced accent spacebar in the base kit. So in the base kit, you did not get a traditional, normal, proper, correct alpha colored spacebar. You got an accent colored spacebar, and that was it. And that really, really bothered me because I am the type of guy that never uses accent spacebars. Never. Always want the alpha colored spacebar. I think it looks way better. Here, she's actually doing the opposite. So this base kit does have both the 625 and the 7 unit alpha colored space bars, which I do like seeing, but of course she does have a spacebar kit as well if you want something a little bit more accented.
For sure, yeah, and there's good compatibility in that spacebar kit as well. There's quite a few different options, so it's really good to see. One of the other things that we wanted to call out about this set, and I think this is the first time it's ever been done by the people involved, but there is a specialized Rama Artisan cap, which is to replace the ANSI Enter with Olivia's traditional he logo across the top. What do you think about this, Brian? Honestly,
I think it's great. I mean, it's really adorable because, you know, people that haven't talked to Olivia, like this is kind of like her laugh, like when she types, instead of saying ha 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 or like he or LOL or something, she says hi 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 hi. I mean, I'm not sure if that's how she says it in person, but it's cute. It's really cute, and it does go with the set really nicely. And I kind of like things like that. So like, even though this novelty doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the Olive set, you know, in terms of the novelty, it's just a testament to her character, and I like that a lot.
For sure, yeah, it does fit. I've played. I remember playing a few games with Olivia a while back, and she does kind of have that kind of eye sound to the way she laughs when she giggles about things. So it is very fitting for her. But it's really interesting. It's really nice to see that Rama's doing something different instead of just the 1U keycaps, which usually tend to be row 1. This is, you know, an ANSI Enter key, which is the first time it's been done as a Rama novelty for a keycap set. So I'm really excited to see that. You know, I think it looks great. I've got some ANSI ANSI only boards, and you know what, I'm going to probably pick this setup just for those boards because I want to use that novelty key because I think it looks great.
Yep, absolutely love it. I'll definitely be picking this up as well. Great price, great compatibility, great looking set. Got to support novel keys, got to support Olivia. Good looking stuff.
Yeah,
I want to buy the Enter. But man, I'm the type of guy that never spends. I never spend money on the Rama Enters. I mean, this one's you know, pretty reasonable too. $52. This isn't that much more than his row 1 novelties he normally does. So, you know, I think the price is pretty reasonable. But man, that's gonna look good. Oh, and right on time. Olivia subs at tier 1 for 20 months. Thanks, Olivia.
She's back in chat. Olivia,
I didn't realize she was here.
Yeah. So the other thing I was going to say is I think that this has replaced my favorite Rama Artisan, which was the mountain from the Red Samurai kit. I can't remember the name of the mountain now, but it's lost me because it's 3:30 a.m. here. But I think this has replaced my favorite Rama Artisan cat now. I think this has now become my favorite one.
Oh, whoops! Lost my place. There we go. Yeah. This is a good one. This is a good one, guys. All right.
Yeah. So $125 for the base kit that covers any layout you want. It's such a good base kit. So I'm really happy and excited for it. So yeah, excellent.
Most definitely, guys. So this is going to be open until June 29th. So you got a little bit of time, just about till the end of the month almost, to make your decision on this. But it's looking good, guys. It's looking good. Absolutely.
Yeah. So well done, Olivia. Thank you very much for joining us. Both big fans of that set. Moving on to something a little bit different, and a set that I actually sold a version of this to Olivia not so long back as well. We've now got round 2 of Oblotsky's GMK Oblivion. So this is a set that ran back, was it 2017, I think, when this ran originally? Waited for years and now come back. It's been something that's really, really popular in the aftermarket. It's sold for some really high prices. It's a favorite keycap set of a lot of different people. I still own the round 1 of both the light and the dark version, and it's something that I like to use quite often. It's one of my favorite key sets. So I'm really happy to see this come back and give other people an opportunity to pick this up. In terms of the actual set itself, there is a lot more options in terms of kits this time. Do you want to talk us through the breakdown of the kits, Brian, and how that might differ from round one?
Yeah, so this is kind of interesting. In round one, basically there was one base kit, and that came with your Git mods, GIT mods here, which were kind of multicolored here, like I'm showing here. This is very similar to what round one looked like. And then you had your choice of alphas, basically. You can either do the lighter gray ones or the darker gray ones, which are shown here. But in kind of, I think this is actually a first in our community. This GMK set is being offered in 3 base kits. Technically 4 if you count the Ergodox assembly kit, but for all intents and purposes, we're going to call this 3 base kits. For normal keyboards. So you have your Git base, like I was just showing off there. You have your regular base, which is the same thing, but instead of with the non-text novelties. So this one has your, the Git base has your tag, your push, your your rebase, your branch, all your text-based novelties, which I do like. The regular one just has the more normal standard tab, caps lock, shift, etc. And then there's also the monochrome base kit, which I was kind of a big fan of. I like the more monochrome style of sets. This one, kind of removes all the colorful accents in favor of just keeping with a standard, more kind of monochrome 2-color look. There are still accents in here as well, but for all intents and purposes.
You meant the legend accents there in the yeah, absolutely. Again, I'm really happy to see the monochrome kit come back. Originally in round one, the monochrome was a modified kit only. It didn't have alphas with it. You had, as Brian said earlier on, you had the standard base kit, the Git base kit, and then you had the choice of either the Hagorama alphas or the regular alphas, which are the dark grey ones. And then you could purchase as an optional extra the monochrome kit as well, which gave you all of these kind of additional modifier keys in this monochrome look and feel. Just looking at some of the other wider kits, there is the assembly base kit as well, but interesting, there's also some Oblivion cadet kits as well. So if any of you remember GMK Space Cadet that ran last year towards the end of 2018, the alphas from that kit have been brought forward to this one as well. So you can have that in both the light or the dark, and you can also buy the Hagorama alphas separately as well. So if you want those light keys, you can buy just the alpha keys separately. You have to buy one of the base kits as well. But you can get the cadet alphas in both of those layouts if you want to pick those up. As well as that, there's also Vim keys as novelties. There's alternate function colors, which covers both the light and the dark layouts, depending on which you want. And then there's also the space keys, which gives you a lot of the shorter spacebar options from 2.75U all the way down to 1U keys, depending on what your preference is there. Interestingly, the spacebar kit has been split into 2. So there's a standard spacebar kit as well, the 6U spacebar kit that gives you those. There's the space keys, which gives you the shorter ones, and the 6.25 and 7Us are in all of the different base kits that you could potentially want, and also in the Hagorama alphas if you want to buy them separate. There's also a few of the kits for things like Kolvrak and international kits, which give you all of those kind of Norda functionalities and everything else. So there is a lot of different options and different kits to make up this set.
Yeah, and I feel like this is already doing pretty darn successfully. Oblivion was a really hyped set. It ran in 2017, I believe, on Clack, and
it did,
because Clack was kind of still coming to in that time frame. It didn't really sell that well, actually. I think this was one of those situations where they just barely met MOQ, and then after it shipped, everyone kind of went crazy for it because it is a very nice set with a lot of cool options. So, we're kind of getting a refresh of that, and I really like it. Looks like they're already one thing that Drop does that I like a lot is they actually have an order tracker. So, I mean, they have 3 base kits, and they've already sold 370, 332, and 84, respectively.
Yeah, plus they've also sold 251 of the Hagorama, the white alphas as well. So that's a huge number of effectively kits that have sold that are almost full kits for this, and it's only been open a couple of days, guys, so this is really, really hot property right now. People are wanting to buy this. It's already at MOQ for the 250 units for a lot of the sets, and it's almost pushing towards the 500, and I think it'll easily hit the 500 for a lot of these sets. Interestingly as well, the Kolvrak, the Space Bars, the Oblivion International kits, they're also showing really, really strongly, even despite some high prices, like the International kit's $85. Despite that, still sold 35 units, which is significantly more than what we would expect to see in any other kit at this point. Normally, kits like that struggle to hit MOQ, sadly. But this time it looks like they're going to make it quite easily because this set is so popular and it is driving so many sales through the actual base kits. So good to see something being really popular brought back to the community. I don't think you'd be able to run this set in this way on any other vendor. I think if you tried to run it anywhere else with all these different base kits, you would struggle because of the reach that Drop has compared to a lot of other people as well.
Yeah.
But I do think that this is going to do really well, and I'd be surprised if any of the base kits fail to hit 250 units. I think the only one that's not at the minute is the monochrome base kit, but I don't think it'll struggle to get there.
Yeah.
And I think most of the base kits will hit the 500 units quite easily.
Yeah, which is actually kind of surprising to me because if you remember from the first run, the monochrome add-on kit only just barely met its 50 unit MOQ or whatever it was.
Oh yeah,
and there were none of them. People were paying triple and quadruple prices just on the aftermarket just to get the monochrome kit. It was so rare and so in demand. I'm really surprised that number isn't actually higher.
Yeah, I think it'll probably get higher. I think it'll be one of those kits that does grow over time, especially considering this is open for nearly a month. So I think that'll be fine. Just in terms of that, you're not wrong. I bought 2 of the monochrome base kits because I wanted to use the mods with another Keycap set at the time. I was disappointed in Plum. I liked the alphas, but I didn't like the mod, so I bought it to go with that. It didn't work. It didn't go at all as well as I thought it would do in my head. So I never used it, but I got some seriously high offers for that single kit, which was just modifiers, and I could have bought, a GMK set and a half at, old GMK set prices where they were $150 and $160 without even worrying about if I'd have sold it at that price. I didn't in the end. I traded it to Future Grime with the guy behind the DMG Keycap set, GMK DMG, for some switches and some other bits and pieces as well. But there were some seriously high numbers for that monochrome kit. It was trading at really, really high prices.
Yeah. Anyway, so the base kits here looking pretty darn good, especially if any of them do reach that 500 unit MOQ, because it drops down to about $110 to $125 range respectively, depending on which base kit you're going to go for. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty good. That's pretty attractive.
It's not unattractive, yeah.
Definitely. I don't understand the kind of blue accents in this monochrome base kit though. I feel like that's kind of random. So
originally they were red, I feel, and I think there was a lot of comments that with the white alphas it was really, really close to GMK Honeywell, so they changed it to the blue ones. I think that was the feedback I read. I'm sure I remember it being something like that. But
okay.
Yeah. I think the biggest surprise for me actually in this group buy is that the assembly base kit has got 72 orders. That's a huge number for
Ergonox people kit representing.
Yeah, that's a huge number, especially when it's only a couple of days in. So, yeah, really impressive, guys. Really impressive.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, let's move on to something that might be a little more controversial, depending on who you are. So this is the group buy for GMK Hammerhead by Key Labs. And boy, is this an interesting set. So I'm going to start off by saying I really love the colors of this set. I think the theme and the colors are spectacular. When I did see the interest check, I was totally in favor of buying this set, and I had definitely planned on it. But now I'm not going to buy it, unfortunately.
Sure. I completely agree with that sentiment. Let's call out some positives first of all. So in terms of the colorways, there's 2. There's the core colorway, which has lighter colored alphas, and there's the deep water edition, which has darker colored alphas. I think both of those kits look great. I think you're right, Brian. I think the colorway is spot on. In terms of, I'm not going to touch on compatibility or anything. We'll come back to that in a second. In terms of the novelties as well, I like a lot of the novelties. The little lighthouse novelty is a favourite of mine, and I like that there's so many different options in that novelties kit. The text-based scuttle novelty, I wish that key came in other options because I really like that. It's really nice. And the pipe key as well is quite nice as well. And I think that's kind of it for my positives. Anything else you want to add to that before we start to talk about some of the challenges with the set?
No, like I had mentioned, color theme I'm totally on board with. Novelties, I like some of them. I dislike some other ones. Text-based
Sure.
novelties, love it. Scuttle and what is this a parlay? That's a parlay key. Perfect, love it.
Yeah, the parlay one is cool. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about why me and seemingly a lot of other people are not buying this set now. And
Sure.
so I'm gonna. I can't. So this just a comment on this website. I can't actually like open these. I can't magnify them anymore, which is kind of a bummer. So I'm just gonna go back to the
better
Google
on Keycap,
thread,
yeah, you can do better,
which
yeah.
does have the same updated pictures. So this was kind of a mess. So let's take a look at the core kit to start out with. And I will say these have been updated to fix several of the issues that they had before. So these do look a little bit better, thankfully. But let's take a look at some of the things we have here. So originally we did have duplicate mod colored tilde keys and duplicate mod colored pipe keys. He has changed those. Originally there was also no 7U space bars in any of the base kits. So that was kind of strange to a lot of people as well. He has since added 7U space bars, which is kind of cool.
Yep.
So I'm glad we saw that. Let's take a look at the enter situation here, because the enter situation kind of bothers me a little bit. This is like
it bothers me as well.
This is one of the main reasons I'm not buying this set. So as you can see in this picture, he does have the accent enter here, and then there is another accent enter here. So he has two enters for OnZ users, and neither of them are the proper mod colored enter, which I think is kind of a bummer. But what's also interesting is they have ISO support, and the ISO enter is the proper mod color enter, which I thought is really strange. Why would you give it to ISO users but not to OnZ users? And then on top of that, he also has support for. I was trying to figure out if there was a specific sub 60% compact board he was really aiming to support here, but I couldn't really find out which one it was. But he has a 1.25U tab, as well as a 1.75U accent enter, which I thought was really strange. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 enters in this set, and not a single one of them is the proper mod-colored enter for OnZ.
Yeah, and if you want to have an accent key with ISO, you just can't if you buy the base kit. The other, it is a really, really weird set. So fair play to him for putting full UK ISO in there. That's great. That's lovely to see. But it's not done right. It should at the very least mirror the mod color enter that they've got in the 60% base kit for OnZ. You know, that's what should be there as standard, or they should offer both, or they should offer a kit that has the enter keys in there or something. It's a really weird situation that's on here. The other thing that's really unusual as well is there is a lot of 1U keys in here that support a lot of ortho designs, which we don't usually see in base kits very often. I think that it supports for the Boardwalk series of PCBs, if I'm looking at it. That's what I'm reading into it. But it's a really interesting choice that's been made. I'm not sure why that's in the base kit, unless that's just something that the runner really wants to support. It just doesn't feel like it's something that's necessary there.
Look at this. We have a 1U row 2 tab, a row 2 1U escape, a row 3 1U escape, and a row 2 1U blank. So this guy is really pumping in a lot of keys to this set that aren't going to be used by a lot of people. And it kind of begs the question, why didn't he try to run this a little bit more traditional way and support all the things that, 70, 80, 90% of users use, and then, do an add-on kit for, the other 10, 20% of users that want that ortholinear stuff.
It doesn't support a full ortholinear board either. As far as I can work out, there's not enough keys there to actually support it, or the right keys there to support
not properly.
Ortholinear board. To do it properly. So he hasn't even done it justice, or they haven't even done it justice. And the other challenge as well is it doesn't support all of the layouts that you'd expect. So whilst there's HHKB and 65% stuff in there, there's a lot of stuff that feels like it's kind of missing. And I'm not quite sure why there's an R4 1U enter. I don't know what board has ever used that. That just feels really bizarre to have in there. So I do find this set challenging. And to be quite honest, it doesn't extend to just the core and the deep water edition kit. So a lot of those problems exist with the deep water edition kit as well. But just looking down at the Euro kit next, it's great that people want to support Euro kits. I love to see it. We've been European. That's kind of really nice. But this particular set doesn't support any European layout properly. So normally you'd see a Norda kit in these kind of circumstances, which would give you kind of full German support, and it'd give you Swedish support, and the Nordic languages and all of that kind of stuff. But none of those are fully represented in this kit, which is just bizarre, and I don't know why. It's just I don't get it. Why?
Oh man, I want to love this set. I really do. I love the colors. The guy seems nice. He's got a cohesive theme. And I was talking to him a little bit on the Geek Hack thread as well. I was like, hey, you've said these things. Why are you doing this? Why are you not supporting this and this? And he's like, well, I just wanted to do something different, basically. And, this is what I wanted to do. And I was like, well, it's your designer's vision. I can't fault you for that. But, it's a bummer because I know I would have bought the set if it was, set up a little bit more traditionally. Yeah. And I've seen many other people say the same. So it's just kind of a bummer. Also, I want to point out, just because it bothers me so much, it's like Jay had mentioned, all the issues that are in the core kit are basically present in the deep water kit as well. So there's a 2 base kit system here, which we don't see too often. But check out the normal enter on the deep water edition. That's alpha colored. You get an alpha colored enter, which is it really really irks me. It's just so strange. I feel like there's so many keycaps in here that nobody is really going to use. Maybe 10, 15, 20% of people are going to use. And it's just, I feel like this should have just been a little bit more traditional of a run. I feel like he's trying something new, and I give him props for that, but I really just can't see this working. And furthermore, he's running it on his own site that he just set up to run this. So, I don't know what kind of projects this guy's done before. It sounds like this is his first group buy. He's opening a site that has, no credit, no reputation, because he's never done anything previously. And he's trying to go, balls to the wall, all out crazy on these compatibility sets. I don't understand. And I almost worry this is not even going to meet MOQ.
Yeah, I think it does worry me that might happen. I do want to call out another couple of really positive things, though. So I wanted to just give a big shout out to Crash Draws. So Crash is one of the best, so he does a lot of renders on Instagram. He does a lot of hand drawings, a lot of digital drawings, and he's a really, really nice guy as well. And I just want to give him props to some of the designs for this, because the case design, the banderole design that goes around the GMK box with the hammerhead shark on there and the mouse mat are both epic. The novelties are great as well. So big shout out to Crash. You've done this set justice in terms of the design for stuff like that, and I'm really impressed with that kind of stuff. So he's knocking it out of the park on there for me. I just feel like this set could have been done better. It's the compatibility that kind of ruins it for me. Everything else about it is so good. The colors work really well. The renders are really nice. The mouse mat's exceptionally good. I'm probably going to buy the mouse mat and not the key set, if I'm honest. Some of the novelties are really nice. It's just that compatibility, man. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer, because I really would love to use the set, but I want to use it, in a more traditional way, not with alpha colored enters and stuff. Anyways, the group buy opened on the 4th, and it is open until July 4th, so it's open for a full month long.
For a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And estimated
just one
October.
Other thought, Brian. What do you think to the comparisons between the Deepwater Edition and GMK Calm Depths?
Is it pretty similar? I mean, you're asking a colorblind guy, remember? So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I just think it's kind of similar. It's very reminiscent. I think certainly in terms of the alphas, it is kind of reminiscent of it. I know a few other people have pointed it out as well. I just think it's a little bit close to that. I think if I was going to pick either of the two, it'd probably be the core kit. But do you know what the worst thing about this is? And Dixie just made the point there as well. I was going to mention this, and I don't think we have. Is that the guys know everything that's wrong with these kits that was behind it. They know what the challenges are. The community's been really open and really vocal about this, but they're still picking those decisions, and they've made it clear that those are the decisions they want to make. And I'm just not sure that they really fit for this particular set. And I really hate to be this negative about something, especially when it has so much potential. But I think that's what the frustrating thing is. This could be so good, and just some unusual choices with kit design is what's really hindering and holding this back. And I think that it's something that could be easy to fix, but it's already in group buy phase now, so it's a little bit too late. But yeah, it's a little bit disappointing. I think that's what the big issue with it is.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he's already kind of finalized things with GMK in terms of all the kits and stuff. So, what you see is what you get. Like, apparently nothing else is going to be changing. And not only that, this is running, a little on the high side for GMK sets right now. It's going to be at $140. So, not only are we getting a pretty controversial, in terms of compatibility, base kit, it's $140, which is on the higher side right now. And you're competing against GMK Olive. You're competing against GMK Oblivion right now, both which are lesser, much cheaper sets that have way better compatibility in terms of the norm, and ran by reputable vendors, long-awaited designs. It's just, man, I feel bad right now for this guy. I do think he probably has good intentions, and he's probably a good person.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree. I think it's just
this just seems like a fail to me, and it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
I really did want to buy this set.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And I think that's why it's disappointing, because we can see the potential it had. And, Crash has done an amazing job with the sleeve and everything else as well, the designs for the Hammerhead and stuff. He's such a good artist with that kind of stuff. And Dixie's pointed out as well that they don't have Pantone chips yet either, which is interesting. Normally people would buy the Pantone chips to make sure they're matching the Pantone colours that they've got selected prior to getting GMK to match them. So there's two stages. You pick your colours, you pick your Pantone colours, and then you would order Pantone chips to make sure that the colours you're seeing on your screen are actually what you would expect it to look like in real life, because you've got the chips there. And then once you've got those chips there, you would then, the second part of it, and you're happy with them, you'd then share them with GMK, who would try to match those particular chips, and you would then try and colour match that backwards and forwards with GMK a couple of times. Now, that first step is done usually before the group buy starts, to make sure that the colours are correct and that there's no challenge with the colours. The second side of it with GMK is what usually happens after the group buy is closed. I know some sets that have been confident recently, they've started to do that colour matching with GMK before the group buy's gone live, which is a great thing to do. But either way, it's not something that's unheard of to happen afterwards. But they haven't even started that first step yet by getting the colour chips, as Dixie says, which is quite interesting. And they've already launched the group buy based on the Pantones they've selected without having chips to match, which could be a bit of a risk. So
yeah. I mean, I kind of want to just chalk it up to inexperience running a GMK set for this guy, because quite literally until yesterday, even after he had finalized things with GMK, he had 2 mod-colored tildes in the base kit. He had 2 mod-colored pipe keys in the base kit. He didn't have 7U spacebars in the base kits. And then he was like, oh, okay, then he fixed it all. And then I'm just like, alright. Like, what? Can we fix the other things that are wrong with it now? Please?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to sit here and, pound a dead horse into the ground, but I hope this group buy goes as well as he wants it to go, and maybe we can get a round 2 with a tweaked compatibility. That's kind of my best hope right now, because I do want the set.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I think as you say, we can see the giant potential that this set has. It could be so good, and the compatibility is what's limiting it.
Yeah, compatibility and timing and price. I think all 3 are really big factors going forward with this set. I don't know. Yeah, there's not a whole lot more to say on it.
I wish them the best of luck. I am definitely going to buy that desk pad because the desk pad's amazing. So I'm definitely going to pick that up. I hope it goes really well for them. But I do hope that we don't see the base kits being standardized and other people running them. I think there's better examples of what base kits should be, a la Olive or Oblivion or some of the other kits that we've seen recently as well. So yeah. It is what it is. I think we've talked about this one long enough now. I don't want to feel like we're being too negative about it because we do like it. So let's move on to the next topic. So AIO3 is back with another interest check. So this guy is beyond prolific at the moment. He's doing some really good work. And he's back with SimpleJA, which is an interest check for a vintage-styled Japanese key set. I've popped the link in chat. Brian's got it up on screen. What do you think to this, Brian? Do you want to talk us through it?
Yeah, so I remember when he was pretty active in our Discord, he was kind of pitching this idea of doing this a while back, and I thought it was pretty cool. So the idea mainly is that a lot of Japanese legend key sets that we have in the community, sub-legend key sets, what have you, just don't actually have all the proper legends, particularly on like modifiers and such. They're just not accurate to what you need to actually type with, if you're typing in a true Japanese JIS layout. And he kind of aimed to correct that. And as you can see here, I don't know what's correct and what's not, so I don't know if he pulled it off, but I'm assuming he pulled it off. He's a pretty meticulous guy. He's pretty good at what he does. So, he did a lot of research and he came up with, all of these keys. And I think it's pretty interesting. I definitely like it.
I think I'd agree. I think the compatibility is really good as well. And what's really nice is he's actually put the JIS, the GIS layout. So I know we talk a lot about ANSI and we talk about ISO on the show. The Japanese alternate version of this is JIS or GIS. And it's really nice to see that he's done the base kit with the GIS layout and then he's shown the other keys on the top. So there is a lot of compatibility in that base kit and more than meets the eye at the first look. So you can do all of the standard stuff. You can do ISO, you can do ANSI, you can do TKL 60%, 65%. You can do HHKB, you can do GIS, obviously. It's really good to see. There's even Sangan bottom row in there as well. So there's a lot of compatibility in there, even if you can't read the legends. It is really good to see. Looking at the other kits as well, if you do want to add a numpad, so if you want 1800 support or similar, you need to add the numpad kit. The spacebar kit works for pretty much everything else. I can't think of any other board layout that you can't hit with the spacebar row, with the bottom row on the spacebar kit. And then there's also an additional function kit, which I'll come back to in a second because there's something really interesting there, and an ortho kit as well. As I said, on the function kit, what's really, really interesting is that he's actually got the keycaps for the M1 to M10, which can act as macro keys for the left-hand columns we see on things like the VEA, the J01, the Revo Mini, or the KMAC Mini, sorry, and the Revo Mini. So they're really nice keys to have. I've got a couple of boards with that kind of option on, so I'm really tempted with that for that. And they cover everything from row 1 to row 4, vertically ascending or descending.
It also has your F13 through F24 for your classic IBM 122 key options, which we don't really see very often, but there you go.
Overall, though, I think this kit looks good. It fits the theme. The render he's got right at the top of the shop looks really, really nice. The colorway is nice. The keys are working well. That white and beige key set looks really, really nice. So yeah, I'm really interested to see it. He thinks it's going to be Enjoy PBT, which is nice. He's going to get some quotes if there's interest, and prices to be confirmed.
Yeah, so we're presuming Enjoy PBT here. That's probably the most obvious choice. We can also pretty much surmise that it'll probably be KBDfans running it, since he does seem to like to go through KBDfans for all of his recent projects, including the KBD 8X Mark II, which he helped redesign, as well as the Prism Switch opener and the upcoming Polaris. So we can probably assume that KBDfans will be the vendor for this key set, which is cool because obviously we're partnered with KBDfans. We like them. We like the things that they do. And they usually keep prices down. That's something they're pretty known for. So I think we can probably expect a pretty reasonably priced base kit.
Yeah.
Which I'm very excited for.
The FAQ is really good as well. The last question on this is: are the F13 to F24 keys in the function kit really necessary? Yes, they are.
Just yes, he's very blunt about that.
Yeah, he's very blunt about it. I like it. I think this set's onto a winner. I really
yeah. This will probably be a buy for me as well if I can see it around the expected price of, I'm gonna guess, anywhere between $70 to $85 for the base kit.
Yeah, something like that would be good, and I'd be really interested to see it at that price as well. So yeah, cool.
All right, let's move on to an interest check for GMK Phosphorous, which is a pretty interesting, background here. So the idea behind this key set is he was browsing a RamaWorks website and he was contemplating the M60A in Moon. He took a close look at the renders. It had a simple gray and bluish cyan key set that didn't exist, obviously. It was just a render, which he immediately fancied. This guy must be from the EU. Yeah, he's from the EU.
He is, okay.
Bam.
He's from the EU, yeah. I know him well, yeah.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you take us through a little bit of what this set entails, then?
So as you say, he saw that kind of image on the RamaWorks website. He had a chat with Rama.
Oh my god, Jay, hold on. Your mic cut out. Discord, please. I can see you talking, I just can't hear anything. God, did this happen last week too?
Okay, am I back? Can you hear me now?
You're back, yeah.
Right, okay. Your volume has just gone super high. Let me just lower that down. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I don't know where I got to before I cut off, but I'll start again. So he was talking to Rama about this set. Rama was completely happy to run it. He's been working with mykeyboard.eu to come up with this particular set and the kits included as well. And he's wanted to base it around the element Phosphorous, which is what he's named it for with the cyan, which is an element in the periodic table of elements. So he's kind of got this set that's based on that. He's got some great text novelties in there around the Phosphorous key. He's got a lot of support within the original kit for 60% TKL, 65% HHKB, multiple options for your bottom row, and ISO support as well. Numpad is in its own separate kit, as is 40s and Spacebars too. But there is a lot of compatibility within those, as well as some of the old lower and raise text type novelties in there as well. So that's kind of his inspiration. That's where it's come from. As I say, he's been working a lot with a lot of the EU folks and a lot of the US folks as well. So Necroman and Necrowoman, who run mykeyboard.eu, who have sponsored a couple of my build streams, really nice people, as well as people like Kablotsky and Old Cat, Rama themselves directly, and Langalandia, who's running the GMK Cafe set as well. So there we go. What do you think to the set then, Brian? What are your thoughts on it?
I would call for me, this is a complete winner. I'm a really big fan of Cool Gray, and I'm a really big fan of Cyan. So having them together is really awesome for me. And I'm not usually in love with accents, but I really do like when they get really creative. So obviously the P is the presumably
element
for the elemental table. Thank you for Phosphorous there. So I like seeing that. I think that's pretty fun. I really like that on like GMK Carbon, for instance, as well. I love seeing that carbon element key. So I like that. The set's pretty much a winner for me. It's relatively monochrome. I like that. It's simple. It's clean. Sign me up, buddy.
Yeah, it does look really nice. It's a really simple one. I'm pretty certain that this group buy is going to happen from the chats I've had with mykeyboard.eu. So whilst it's an interest check for some feedback on the kits and things like that, it is something that's going to run. So do bear that in mind, guys, and feel free to hit them up if you're interested. I think they're working with other vendors at the minute to get some more proxies around the world. So they will be announced in due course as well.
Yep, good stuff. All right, moving on to another key set interest check. This is the interest check for DSA Miami Dolch Round 2. So this is a set that did run about 3 years ago-ish, almost 3 years ago. And it was pretty popular, actually, at the time. A lot of people were really huge, into this set. It was very big. And this guy's kind of come out of the woodwork to do a Round 2 with presumably much more updated compatibility. I haven't taken a look and compared from the round one version, but over the last 3 years, we've had a lot more layouts introduced in our community. So
yeah.
So yeah, he's got a
Just
pretty nice compatibility list. Go on, Jay. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, just looking through the kits, there's kits for pretty much everything that you could possibly want here. So there's Alpha Kit, which is the base kit. There is a TKL mod kit, which gives you TKL function. There is a 60% mod kit if you just want modifiers for 60%. There is a White Fox specific 65% and 75% kit. There's a Sangan and Colmac kit. There's a Numpad kit. There's a UK ISO kit. There's just an Alt ISO Enter kit. There's an international kit, which covers a proper international kit, which covers everything it should do. There's an Ergodox kit, Ortho kits, bonus kits, Miami kits, Vice kits, which is great, by the way. Miami and Vice, I like that. That's really cool. And then there's a novelty kit, which is just fantastic, and all sorts of other things. I can't go through the rest of it because there's just so many. But I do really genuinely enjoy some of the novelties that are in there as well. I think those are really cool, very emotive of the whole 80s Miami Vice kind of scene. So yeah, I think this is a good update on a classic set within the community. It's something that's been out there a while. It's something that a lot of people have either owned at some point or have definitely seen in a series of renders, pictures, meetups, all that kind of stuff. A very popular key set. So I'm glad to see it come back and have all of these different new options and compatibilities and novelties and everything else. I think it works really well. And I also really like the logo. And if Mountain Blocks wants to run another Dolch logo t-shirt, I would buy that splashed paint logo t-shirt.
I'd buy that one too. I would certainly buy
really
that
cool.
one. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it looks pretty good. I would like some more renders. I think that'd be pretty cool, like renders on actual keyboards as opposed to just like the KLE ones.
There is some renders in there. There is some. They're under a link at the top. If you just underneath the Dolch logo, there's some round one render.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough. All right, there you go, guys. So yeah, it does look pretty good. One thing I was a little confused about is down towards the bottom, you can check out the DSA anti-depths, which I thought was pretty interesting. So do you know much about this? Is this like a separate kit that's within this set, or is this like an entirely new DSA set that he's kind of running alongside this?
It is. So this is exclusive for R2. So it's designed to work with this original one, but it's designed to match the Miami Dolch alphas, but to also match the colors of the Calm Depths mods. So that's why it's called Anti-Depths. So it is very much new to round 2. It replicates a lot of the compatibility in a lot of the other kits, apart from where they've contained alpha keys. So the alpha keys are still from the Miami base kit, and then it has all of these different kits to give compatibility for just the modifiers. I think that looks kind of interesting. What is missing for me is kind of a picture of what that will actually look like with the anti-kits all together. I know there's one or two right at the very bottom of the interest check, but I'd like a proper render of it rather than just a KLE layout, just so we could see that properly underneath the layouts. There's some more extras. Right at the very bottom there's an anti depth 60% and full size as well. So it'd be really interesting to see that as a proper render rather than just that kind of KLE.
Yeah, definitely. Because I'm not really the biggest fan of this set, but the anti-depths has me a little curious. I would check that out.
Sure.
All right. So there you go.
I think it's definitely going to run. It'll be on Mass Drop as well. I think it's the
presumably drop.
Oh, sorry, drop. Sorry, I keep forgetting that. Yes, drop. So we'll see it when it's back, but I think it's definitely going to run. So yeah.
Shout out to Japanese Horror Writer for the 1,000 donated RIT bits. Appreciate that, my friend.
Oh, thank you, dude. And I think they were shared out between 25 people as well. So thank you, man. We really appreciate that.
How does that work? What does that actually mean?
So what it does is it attributes those 1,000 bits to 25 different users, as though those 25 different users had all donated whatever the difference is, 100 bits each or whatever it is. It's not that, whatever it is. So it does that and gives them emotes and all sorts of other bits as well, depending on how much people do. So it's a lot of Twitch stuff going on in the background.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Very, very cool. All right. So make sure to stay tuned to this interest check. It'll presumably run on drop, just like the previous version did, I believe. So should be pretty easy to find.
Should we jump onto our last news topic for tonight?
Yeah, our last topic on our news doc is the interest check for the Shield, which is an Artisan case made by Gray Studio, which is kind of interesting. So we've seen these kind of upper echelon, higher tier artisan holders more and more lately with the snack box, and the names are escaping me, but there's at least 2 more that have come out pretty recently. And this is another one of those entries into here, so this is kind of a neat little system here. That it holds 28 artisans, if I did my math correctly. And it's $100 shipped worldwide, which is pretty cool. It's $100 shipped, $99 shipped. And it's ready to ship, which I thought was pretty cool, with the grand opening launch of Gray Studios' Shopify store. So
yeah,
I guess they already have some of these made, which is pretty cool. The bottom is aluminum and the top is acrylic, and they kind of fit together using a magnet system. So I thought that was pretty cool too. At first, when I saw these pictures with the top off, I thought it was kind of like a latch that you could open and close, but it seems a little bit less like that. And this is kind of just laying here. This is actually not really attached. So that's kind of cool. I guess, Artisan is getting to the point where these are, potentially a good thing to be run.
I think you're right. I think even what could be considered a moderate Artisan collection today is probably, in the region of 10 to 15 different Artisan caps. It's not like a moderate collection 2 or 3 years ago where it would be 3 or 4 caps. It's very much come to the forefront of the hobby as Artisans at the moment. I think this is a good idea. Personally, I'm not a fan of the design particularly, but I'll probably pick one up. I think $100 for something that holds 28 Artisans, which each cost upwards of $50 a piece, depending on what you've got, and probably valued a lot higher in some cases. I think that's a pretty good price to protect those particular caps. In terms of what I dislike about it, I don't like this kind of design on top of the acrylic that gives it that shield kind of look. I'm not a fan of that, and I also wish it didn't have the logo on the top as well. I wish the logo had been on the base or something else and just been put some other area. But other than that, I think it's a nice piece of kit. I think it'll work well. It looks sturdy, it looks heavy duty, it looks like it's going to work really well to protect those expensive caps. So, I think it's nice.
Yeah, absolutely. ComData 55 in chat is actually pointing out that these are actually cheaper than most of the other options that are similar on the market, which is totally true.
Oh, sure.
A lot of the ones that we covered previously are, $150, even upwards of $200. So this is definitely one of the lesser expensive, but still presumably pretty premium versions.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go cheap, you can get Taobao ones for like $20 and things like that. That'll hold your artisans and will look after them. This is the premium option, but given the fact that a lot of artisans, as we said before, cost a lot of money or are worth a lot of money, even if you didn't pay a lot for them, I think having something that's a bit more premium, that offers a little bit more protection, that is a little bit nicer to look at, is absolutely valid. There's nothing wrong if you've got, $1,000 worth of artisans with having a $100 case for it. That's completely acceptable, completely understandable. And I don't think anyone would ever be judged for doing that, certainly within the artisan community. So, I think this is a good idea. I'd like to see more things run like this, maybe less angular design, something a little bit more simply styled, I would guess. It's a little bit over the top for me as this particular one, but I do like it enough to buy one, so yeah.
Yep. Like Mountain Blocks points out, any crevice lighting avail? Give me some crevice lighting.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd want it on an Artisan box, but yeah, I can see why some people would.
Yeah. All right, so that's actually going to round out our news doc. So guys, if you have any questions for our Q&A segment, now is the time to start asking them, so we can get to them after our quick sponsor spot coming up. So if you guys have questions, post them. Use the @TopClack tag so we can see them a lot easier, and we'd appreciate that. But until then, let's talk a little bit about some of our sponsors, starting with Zeal Generation, where you can find his very prolific lineup of keyboard switches that he currently has available, including the Zealios, Telios, Helios, and Xylence, which are the primary 4 big boys. Jay and I have been using a lot of Zeal switches the last several months, and gosh darn it, we love them. I think the Zealios, I think the V2 redesign was really, really spectacular, and it really did wonders for his entire Switch lineup. So, pretty awesome stuff. Glad to see that. Of course, as pretty recently, he does have free shipping on orders over $150 if you're in the US or Canada, and it's a little bit over that if you're anywhere else in the world. But if you're choosing to purchase from Zeal Generation, make sure you use our affiliate link if you want to support us as well. zealpc.net/topclack will get us a nice little kickback for your order. It doesn't cost you anything extra, of course. It's just to help us out. So, make sure you use that if you like us. or if you love us, or both, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. Big shout out as well. I did see that a Japanese horror writer donated 1,000 bits as well. It went to 25 other users in chat, and also to PMSing Chicking as well. That just did 1,000 to 25 others in chat as well. I did catch it in time. That time we've got a little button that we can press that will do a thank you. So thank you very much for that, dude. I managed to catch that one in time. And he's just donated another 206, 7 bits, something like that, which have been shared rewards to 3 others in chat. So thank you very much for that, dude. We really appreciate all the bits. It's good to see them flying around up there as well. And I'm wondering if this week or next week might be the week where Talisman Solutions reaches 100,000 bits as well. Because he's knocking on the door now.
I didn't realize how close he was.
Yeah, he's really close to that 100,000 bit limit. Yeah, it's interesting. But look at all these new emotes. That's great. That's great, guys.
That's awesome.
Keep posting them. Yeah, keep
rep the pride, man. Rep the pride.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, back onto our vendor talk. We're just about to move on to our second vendor this week. That is Novel Keys. I've posted the link just in chat there. First thing I want to call out is, as we talked about earlier on, the GMK Olive group buy is live right now. The base kit, we were both really impressed with, Brian and I. We really like the colorway. The kit is... the level of compatibility in that kit and with novelties for that price is quite possibly, the lowest price we've seen for that. If you consider stuff like GMK Line, which had a similar base kit and novelties and was $175, this at $125 is a bit of a steal. So if you are interested, do check that out. As well as GMK Olive, there's also the SA Fluffy Clouds set as well, which is the lovely blue and white set. If you are interested in this set, please do pick it up. It's pretty much an orthodox, ergodox kind of kit. Offers a lot of compatibility for those boards. It's made by Signature Plastics, so feel free to jump on that as well. And then the final thing I wanted to call out today as well is, if you are in the mood for buying some stickers, Mike has got this amazing little Yok Panda sticker pack up on the store at the minute as well, which is just fantastic. So it's really cute. These little 3 stickers. I'm going to buy a set of these. I'm sure you are too as well, Brian. Look really, really cute. I definitely want some of those as well. Hyped to see those in real life too. And I don't think the code has changed. So if you do want a discount on anything but group buys, you can use our code. I think it's still Clackers. I don't think that's changed as yet, but it might be due to change soon. That's CLCKERS, and that gets you a 5% discount, I think, on anything that's not in a group buy.
Correct. Yes, it does. Cool. Yeah, those stickers. Look at how adorable these are.
And they're amazing, aren't they? They're super cute.
Oh my god. I love it. It's just too good, man. It's too good. Furthermore, we do still have a couple more sponsors, including Input Club over at Kono.store, which have a few different things going on. Something that kind of slipped under the radar, actually, which I don't even think it's on the front page. I'll have to actually go look for it. Cat Alpha Round 2 has started for pre-order.
There
we go. So $100, just like last time. Well, actually, sorry, wait, this one doesn't include the supplementary one. But you can get the base kit, at least, for the Cat Alpha, which does still have some compatibility there. It's not too shabby for $100 there, and that's pretty nice. Jay and I have been talking a lot about Cat Alpha and just Cat Profile in general lately, because Cat is freaking great, and I cannot wait to see more sets into him. Even if we just get more Cat Alpha, that's fine. It gets it into more people's hands. I like that. I want to start seeing some different designs on the Cat Profile myself, if I'm being personal. The Kira Stealth group buy, still open. You can still get on that if you're a fan of the Kira, but maybe you didn't want any plastic on yours and you wanted more of an all-metal version. Bam, there it is. Now it's for you. As well as SA Granite is still open. So if you want to get in on that, the price is pretty darn good. The famous DSA Granite set now coming to SA with lots of different kits. Lots of cool options there. So make sure to check that out as well.
Excellent. Okay, moving on then, we've got the effervescent KBD fans. So this is Way's store that we all know and love. Link's gone into chat just now. There's a couple of things that I want to call out from KBD fans this week. They've got a ton of great entry-level kits. So if you guys are looking for a first build or something to get yourselves into the community, or to get someone else into the community, a friend or relative or anything else like that, then do consider checking out one of the fantastic kits that Way has on offer. I built my personal KBD67 last week. I'm using it right now. I've got that built up with some trash pandas. I'm really enjoying using it. It's one of the fantastic. It was my board of the year price wise in terms of budget buy of the year for 2018. So if you guys are interested in that stuff, do feel free to check those sets out, this kit's out. As well as that, he's also got a number of Max Keys SA keycap sets that are in group buy right now as well. So if you are looking for something that has a little bit more limited compatibility, works with all ANSI layouts and all of that kind of stuff, but made by Max Keys and is in the SA profile, there's quite a few different keycaps that you can pick up from there, from SA Stars to SAKA and all of those as well. So yeah, do check out Way's store and see if there's anything that tickles your fancy on there.
Yep. And last but not least, we have Dixiemech. You can find that over at our affiliate link, which is dixiemech.com/topclack. You can go straight to the shop from there and see all the cool things he's got going on, including, but not limited to, the SA Magic City small batch run right now, if you're a fan of that set. There's also the Nutcracker V2 group buy going on right now, which I'm going to be looking to pick up as well. I really like the pink color that's going on.
Yeah, same.
And as well as he still has a bunch of the mecha collection thing going on still. So he still has desk mats and hats, and I believe he has shirts somewhere. I'm not sure where they are on the site, but I think he has shirts somewhere. He told me he had shirts, but we'll have to find those later. But you can pick up mecha mats as well. And yeah, make sure you use that affiliate link, dixiemech.com/topclack. That'll give us a little bit of kickback. Of course, again, doesn't cost you anything extra. Just helps us out because you may or may not like and or love us. All right, guys. Let's get back to the Q&A, guys. So if you guys have questions, we have answers. Make sure you use the @topclack tag and post your questions in chat. We did ask you to do that a few moments ago, so we're going to go back and see if anyone did ask anything.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had to refresh my browser because it crashed, so I can't see anything prior to the last two links I posted. So if there's any questions, Brian, you're going to have to fill me in on those.
That's fine. I still got it up. So Sushimi is asking, Excellent. How much oil should I use to tub lube my springs? I think it really depends on A, how many springs, B, how much you want them lubed, and C, how large in capacity your tub is for lubing and or bag. So I use an 8-ounce tub, I think. I want to say it's an 8-ounce tub is what I use for my springs, and I usually do about 1 drop of oil per 10 springs from my particular dripper, which is like kind of a smaller drop, but that's about what I use. Then yeah, I lit up and shake up for about 1.5, maybe 2 minutes, varying how you shake. So I switch up the shake every 5 or 10 seconds, switch up the hands, you know what I'm saying?
I get you.
You know
all about that mix up the shaking hands. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep, sometimes you just gotta switch it, as we all know.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. Let's move on to some more questions here. Sorry guys, sorting through all these pride emotes, which I do like. I do like the pride emotes.
They are cool. Yeah, they're great, aren't they?
10 Strong asking, if you went back a year from now, knowing what you know, what group buys would you have gotten in on that you missed, or ones that you would have avoided? Wow, that's a pretty good question.
I would have entered multiple times for number 2, rather than just the once.
Yeah, I mean,
I really miss that.
I'd probably try my hardest to get any TGR or Keycult board, just knowing the exclusivity and popularity that they currently are enjoying. Yeah, I'd probably be more into that. I don't think I joined a group buy in the last year that I regret.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't say I regretted joining any of them at all. Oh, in fact, actually no, I tell a lie. There is one I do regret joining. That's the Doro 67 because I'm just really disappointed with how the board comes out. not only was my weight completely and utterly scuffed and the wrong material, and I can't get in touch with the group buy runner, but after having a look at a friend's board today and re-looking at mine, it turns out that the stab wire cutouts for a lot of the optional layouts have been misaligned. They're not quite right, which means that the stabilized keys, especially the spacebar, don't return correctly as well. So I've just had nothing but problems with that board. So that's when I regret joining. And as I say, number 2 would be one that I sort of regret not having the opportunity to join or not winning in the raffles for. So yeah, I think that's my answer to that. I don't think I regret joining anything else. Everything else is great, fantastic, and I've got lots coming that I'm looking forward to, and half of it's stuck in customs right now. So yeah.
Yeah, I would be earlier on the Keycult and TGR hype. I think is where I am right now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Slippery
Any other
PED,
questions coming up?
Yep. Is asking, what is your prediction for new developments in the industry over the next 6 to 8 months? New developments, our predictions, 6 to 8 months. Okay.
I think we're going to see more innovation in mounting styles. I definitely think there's a lot of people working on different opportunities. I think in terms of existing mount styles, one thing we'll see become more common is 4-point tray mount. I think having standardized tray mount will slowly disappear, and people will tend to move more to 4-point tray mount. I also don't think the gasket hype train is going to disappear anytime soon. I think there's going to be a lot more boards that offer gasket builds and mounting systems as well. So I think that's going to continue. In terms of actual layouts, I think TKL is big right now. It's really big right now. There's lots of people building and designing TKL boards, and that 65% layout form factor is not going away either. So I think those are both going to be big going forwards as well. I think they'll continue to be just as big as they are today.
Yeah, that's probably pretty good. One thing I would like to see that we might start seeing in the next 6 to 8 months is magnets used in mounting solutions for keyboards. I feel like that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, obviously that's just kind of a guess, but that'd be
sure.
Pretty fun. I think the true isolation mount, like Jade mentioned, the gasket mount's not really going to stop. The gasket train's pretty big, pretty rocking right now, and people are doing it in multiple ways. Some that are very, very cheap, some that are a little bit more expensive, a little bit more elegant.
Yeah,
but I think that's probably not really going to stop. Anything you can do to clean up the feel and sound of reverberation in keyboards is always going to be something people are interested in.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's probably about it that I can think of off the top of my head. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. Next question comes from GA333E. I'm not going to try and pronounce whatever that's supposed to be. Do you guys know how much Alice is costing in the aftermarket? I know it's kind of up to the seller, but an estimated price would be great. It depends, dude. It depends on if it's built or if it's a kit, but you're looking at over $1,000 right now. I've seen them as high as $1,500. I've seen them as low as $1,000. So it's not going to be cheap, if I'm completely honest. I sold mine to fund me coming to Seattle. Now mine was built with Nixie switches, which are usually worth about $5 each, and I sold it completely at cost to a friend in the UK, and that was still £900 or about $1,100. But if I'd put that on the aftermarket, or if I'd wanted to make a profit on it, I think that would have been a $15, maybe even $400 board. Yeah, maybe even $2,000 board. Yeah, it would have been a huge price. So if you do want one, expect to pay for it. If you want a cheaper alternative, Zambamon and Home Row Co. did run the Lubrigante, which was a plastic layered acrylic Alice that you could pick up. I think they're going to run around 2 and potentially around 3 as well later on. And Jack Static as well is also looking at doing a variation of the Alice in different plastics, polycarbonate. And then there was also the Austin board as well, austere board that was featured on the board podcast last week, which I think Solid Snake actually had a lot of helping hand with the designer. I know his name was Ryan, but I can't remember what his username was. So there's at least a few of the boards that use the same plates and PCBs and very similar style that are coming as well.
Cool. Blooded is saying the birds are singing top clack. I'm off, dude.
Oh yeah, I can hear them through my headphones, and I've got my silence on, so guys if you can hear that. I've got like a couple of trees right outside my window, and you can probably hear them singing. I apologise.
It's great. It's great.
It's actually light here at the minute. It's now light. It's 4:34 in the morning, and it's pretty much daylight.
Oh man, it's 8:34 here in PM, and we're starting to get a little dark, just a little, starting to go down a little bit. That was actually it on questions. So we'll do one final call as usual for questions. If you guys have any last minute questions before we head out, now is the time to ask them.
Sashimi's just saying JO2 is definitely maglev. LOL. No, it's not. But it is an 1800 compact board, like what Code J says. So yeah, I think that's the other thing that I probably didn't touch on in the question about what's coming up. There's been the Cypher, which I built on stream a couple of weeks ago. That's now running into round 2. There's been Heine Bush's mini CP board and quite a few other bits and pieces as well. So I think you're right. Mini 1800 is going to be quite big soon too. So yeah.
Particle Decelerator is asking XDA versus all R2 keys for a board, preference/opinion, and have you tried MDA profile? So I have not tried MDA. That's the mix profile or whatever.
Yeah, same. I've not tried it either.
Yeah, I have not tried that. I haven't really spent a whole lot of time with XDA. I tried it out. I didn't really like it. It kind of felt like a slightly taller and maybe a little cheaper DSA to me. That didn't quite feel as concave, so I didn't like it quite as much. But versus all R2 keys for a board, I don't know what that necessarily means. All row 2 keys?
I wouldn't want a board with all row 2 keys, unless you mean SAR3, which is all row 3. That might be what he means.
Maybe that's what he meant.
So I do like SAR all R3. I think that's nice and comfortable. It's basically like a tall DSA, effectively, but smoother keycaps. Maybe you want to have a look at DSS, which has just come out. Which again, that's the other thing that's stuck in customs right now.
Oh man.
Again, frustrating. Oh well.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Mail day next week though. That's the.
Kakan asking, may I? I have no idea what you're asking though. May you what?
Yeah.
I don't know. 10 Strong asking, favorite local non-chain restaurant? Ooh.
So we've got an Italian restaurant not far from where I live called Dino's. It's owned by a local guy. He's really nice. My wife and I go there for a date night at least once a month. We try and have a date night every week, and we go there at least once a month. So it's really, really good. But I suspect this is more attributed to you, Brian. I assume he lives somewhere closer to you.
Maybe. I actually don't know where he lives, so I assume it's both of us. But my favorite is actually this Vietnamese place that I go to quite literally every week. It's called T and N, like the letter T and N. It's a great Vietnamese place, about 15 to 20 minutes away from me. Go there every week, and I have for over a year now. It's amazing. Everything on the menu is amazing. Like the owners actually cook and they wait tables and stuff like that. Like they come out and they talk to you and they ask how things are and what they could be doing better or whatever. It's really, really good too. And I'll have to take you there. I'm gonna take you there when you come out here because I'm planning to take Ray and probably Sushi as well, since they're gonna be with me for a little bit of little bit after the meetup. But yeah, maybe we'll figure something out. It's gonna be
sounds
awesome.
Good.
Yeah,
I freaking love this place. There's 15 meals while I'm there, so we've got plenty of places to try.
How many?
15 meals while I'm there. 5 days, 3 meals a day, 15 meals, right? So
I for a second I thought you said 50, and I was like, holy crap!
I do 10 meals a day, dude. That's what the British do. We do breakfast, second breakfast. 11s is lunch, high tea, dinner, and supper. So 7 meals a day.
Is high tea the same as afternoon tea?
No. Afternoon tea is kind of like for special occasions. They're very different things. You wouldn't do the 2 in the same day, though. You would never do the 2 in the same day. But yeah.
See, I only know most of those because I've seen Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring.
Sir Fortuny said, "I forgot second breakfast." Nope, that's called 11s. That's its proper name. It's not a second.
No. I think he's making a reference to
I know
Lord
he's
of the Rings.
making Lord of the Rings. I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I think there was a couple of questions up at the top as well that we missed. So Boy314 says, top plan, how scooped is Cat compared to SA, DSA, and MT3? Brian, your thoughts?
Well, DSA is completely flat, so it's
Yeah.
more sculpted than DSA. SA sculpt and MT3 sculpt, I find.
You mean scooped? The scooping, the keycap's not the sculpt. Sorry, the
Oh,
scoop.
sorry. Yes. Okay. I would say it's less so than all three of those.
I think you're right. Yeah, MT3 feels like it cups your fingers more, even though it's not quite as deep. The way it's sculpted is, it feels like it hugs your fingertips almost. SA and DSA are broadly similar. I think if you look at SAR3 and DSA, the scoop's very similar. It's not particularly deep, but I think that Cat's probably slightly less than it as well. I'd agree on that one.
Yeah, it might be fairly comparable to something like SA and DSA. But I don't think it's too far off. There's still a nice enough concave feel there. It does hug your fingers a little bit. And the Cat PBT feels so good. It's so smooth and so dense. It is nice. It feels it's the best feeling PBT I've ever felt for keycaps for sure. PMS and Chicken asking me what's my favorite dish there. So assuming you mean the Vietnamese place I'm talking about. I don't know, man. I eat everything there. I've quite literally had the whole menu.
Do they do a good pho there?
Yeah, that's usually what I get. Is some variation of that. My favorite thing there is probably bun bo hue, which is, I probably totally butchered that pronunciation, so I'm sorry to all the Vietnamese people that are gonna hate on me for that. But it's kind of like a pho, but they add shrimp paste and lemongrass and chili, and they do their own in-house chili oil that they add as well. And so it's a little bit spicy, and they do that, and it has Vietnamese ham and beef shank in it. So it's like pho, but upgraded to the best level it could be. It's legit.
That sounds great.
It's legit one of the 3 best things I've ever eaten in my life, and the other 2 things I've eaten in my life that I think are the best are also from the same place.
Wow, so that's high praise. We definitely have to go there.
It's really good. Yeah, and I've eaten pho I've eaten pho in California. I've eaten pho all around my area, and no other place is even remotely as good as this place that I go to.
Interesting. Are you a chopstick man, or are you a get a fork in there, or what type of?
Chopsticks on my left, spoon in my right. You got to alternate between broth and noodles and stuff.
That's fair. Yeah,
it's efficiency. Fair. You got 2 hands, man. Use them.
All right. It's all about that swapping, isn't it? That's what it is, swapping between the two.
You gotta swap, man. You gotta swap.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah.
It's efficiency.
Okay.
You know your boy likes value and efficiency.
Absolutely. Okay. There's 2 questions up there. I think we should probably call those our last questions, considering it's nearly 5 a.m. for me now. So first question comes from Sergeant Pickles. It says, "How do you like your pizzas? Deep dish, thin crust." So I like a thin base, but with a nice crust on it. So it's nice and crispy. And I like, weirdly, I don't know if you do this in America, but I like it to be cooked with an egg on top as well. I quite like that. Crack an egg on top of it whilst it's cooking, and that goes really nicely as well.
That's pretty rare in America, but I have seen that, and I have tried that, and I do love it on a breakfast kind of style pizza, maybe with some arugula on there as well. A nice olive oil. As far as pizza goes, I'm actually from Philadelphia, so I'm kind of more in that New York mindset. I like thin, foldable crust. I like just a little crispy on the outside, but with a very distinct chew. And
sure.
As far as toppings go, I don't really care too much. As long as if you nail the crust and you nail the sauce and you nail the cheese, the toppings are almost irrelevant to me. As long as you have a really good baseline of your pizza structure.
That sounds good. Yeah. I didn't know that's where you were from.
Yeah.
There we go. Every day's a school day.
Slippery Pete is asking, chunky or smooth peanut butter? Chunky. Anyone that prefers smooth peanut butter is wrong. I'm sorry.
So I think the thing is, we don't get good peanut butter in the UK. It's not like a big thing over here like it is in the US. So the only time I've ever actually had peanut butter and liked it was when I was in the US. So maybe that's something we need to look at.
Was it chunky or was it smooth?
It was chunky. I wouldn't have smooth. It just feels like if you're gonna have peanuts, you want peanuts in it, right?
Yeah, like I like the texture. It feels. I don't eat peanut butter a lot, but when I do, I usually go for the all natural stuff, which actually has like, it's literally 2 ingredients. It's peanuts and salt, like on the ingredients list, and there's nothing else. So like that's
peanuts and salt.
That's the kind of stuff that I like. 'Cause it actually tastes like peanuts. I don't really like the big brand stuff as much. But yeah, I like that natural stuff, and usually a lot of the natural stuff comes chunky, and I freaking love it, man.
Yeah, fair.
people really want to know about food today.
Yeah, and Sashimi, you can hear the birds in the background of my mic. Yeah, you probably can. I've got 2 big trees right outside the back here, and then there's fields after that. So at this time of day, the birds do start singing. As I say, it's light out there. I mean, hold on, let me see if I can turn the camera around and show you guys very briefly. There you go. It's light. It's literally light outside. So there we go.
I'd turn my camera, but I'd have to flip it all the way around and kind of aim through a bunch of obstacles.
Right,
so I'm not going to.
it's off is my camera now, but it'll do. It's almost back to where it was. It'll do. So yeah, so it is light outside now. So I am ready to go to bed.
Jay, that link is enormous.
I know. I apologize afterwards. I put it in there, but someone
Oh
wanted
my
to
God.
see an egg on a pizza, and that's kind of like what egg on pizza looks like. So there we go.
Yeah.
But it's best when you've got the yolk and it's running and you cut into the slices and the yolk just pours. Oh, it's divine. I've got to love a good egg. Anyway, there we go. Enough talk about food. I'm getting hungry, and
Yeah,
I need to get 5 hours sleep before I have my breakfast.
For being a keyboard show, we've talked about food quite a bit in the last 15 minutes, and I feel like that's probably not good for a lot of our keyboard viewers.
Yeah, that's probably fair. Yeah.
All right, guys. So we're gonna round this out now. Of course, below the stream you can find the links to our YouTube channel as well as our official Discord. You can join that and come hang out with us, play games with us, etc. Have some fun, have some good times, and yeah. As far as upcoming build streams, I'm hoping to do something tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure if or what I'm doing. There's a lot of variables that things kind of depend on, but I'm gonna hope for a build stream tomorrow. Then I believe Jay will, of course, be doing his usual Sunday noon Pacific time build stream, which will be cool.
This is TR60 this week using linear switches and GMK Nautilus, going for that blue and yellow theme. So we'll be doing that on Sunday at the standard time. Just to call out, guys, as well, that not this Sunday, but next Sunday, I won't be doing a build stream. I've got a family event on. It's Father's Day in the UK, so we're going to my wife's parents and we're spending the day there. So this week there'll be a build stream, then there'll be a break from a build stream for a week, and then I'll be back the week after.
Yeah, I should be able to fill that time regardless. By that time, I'll have at least 2 or 3 things to do, I think. So I'll hopefully be able to do a build stream this week and next week, and probably the week after is the hope as well. So
cool. Yeah, I've got no shortage of content for build streams. It's just finding the time to do them all. That's the problem I've got.
Totally fair.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. And of course, next Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific time, as usual, our main flagship episode, like you saw here today. That's what we do. That's what we do.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We love you. Seriously.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.